It's working. Good. Well, first let me say that I'm okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Freeway.
Oh,
Merging from one lane to another on an off ramp to go to another freeway. And some lady was going really fast and didn't see him. He is unbelievably lucky.
took him off the bike.
He, yes, the bike slid, he rolled or slid or something. He's got road rash on the legs, he's got road rash on his elbow. His jacket is shredded. His head, he doesn't think, because there's no marks on the helmet. And I'm like, and this is like 60 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
This happened.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
when I took my-
his angel was like,
when I took my class.
How are you?
yeah,
Good.
And he said, "You're not survived 45-mile crash. Any higher." I go, "Why?" He said, because when you hit the road, you have to walk half bus and it usually rushes the aorta.
sure,
And that's when it-
Right.
The guy was thinking about the aorta.
it's physics.
It's around 70, that's what's gonna happen. He is so lucky. And no broken bone.
And no, and he rode his bike home. The cops followed him. But he rode his bike home.
See, he was lucky that it didn't start.
I just think he had a lot of guts to get back on the bike.
Got back on his, when he almost got killed. He was over there. He came- the guy pulled out of the section on our highway. And he swung that Harley into an oncoming lane, but at the last thing we left over the brakes, and was able to swing it around in front of us. Monte Carlo. And I have a horn to it. I think it's just screaming at his truck. Because he really do a stop sign and a T, and he's going towards you. The more you barely miss it, the more you- my vision is simple as that. I said, he's not gonna survive. But the more you survive, I said, he's gonna survive. Someone who was very lifeless. Passenger side. Look, here he was, left the bike back in. Pretty danger turn, as the bike in the car is hot. Look in the car, which takes some of the physics out of it as you get around it.
Sure.
But his helmet was completely smashed.
The driver fled the scene. She was probably.
Yeah, I'm sure. But you know, as a young person, I'm gonna tell him this is how it happens. Like motorcycle. We came up 2 years ago from Wales. I was eating, which I rarely eat. But we came up to the gas station, my husband, go ahead, go for it. So I'll- Black car.
Right.
And my neighbor pops over the hill. Right turn signal on, so I slow down and I can see her. She's got the right way to go in. The woman behind her has to start back down. And my husband said, I literally closed my eyes. She barely swung between the two of us. And I'm evidently, but it's a guardrail. I can only go, I can't even put it in the ditch. I'm a
Right.
guardrail.
Right.
I can touch it. That's fair. And I was like, God, damn, people,
We are lucky.
you are.
My son-
Well, he's lucky that
Nobody-
the bike even runs.
Yeah, I told him, have to, nobody sees you and everybody's a wonder.
That's right. Hello, Justin. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
I didn't want you to think I was ignoring you over there. Okay, are you guys ready? It is 6:01. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Town of St. Joseph. This is a regular board meeting. Statement of public notice.
Hereby provided our written notice and the agenda of the public meeting as stated below. There is an opportunity for public comment as noted on the agenda upon recognition by the presiding officer.
Everyone is here and Rick Colbeth is attempting to dial in online. I will take a motion to adopt the agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it passes, and we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a quick second here. All right, we have our upcoming meetings. Finance is next week. Our next town board meeting is on August 11th. Monthly status reports, you received your building inspector in your Google Drive. Zoning administrator, I don't see him in, but he did send in his report. Plan Commission, Anton's not on yet, but I think everything he has to talk to is on our agenda tonight. I don't have anything from the fire chief. Joint Library, I see Hudson Library is on our Zoom meeting. Is there anything you wish to speak? Hello.
I'm just here to listen and take any questions if you have them. I saw that you're going to talk about the county issue and budget issues moving forward. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Parks, Trails and Rec. Is there anything that you need to speak to that's not on the agenda? Okay. Public Works, anything you want to speak to that's not on the agenda that you want to
No.
announce? Can you just, for the people that are here, just tell them where we are on mowing?
We're,
Turn your mic on, Joe. Sorry.
we are gonna be fully completed here next week with mowing. Then we're gonna switch over to the forestry head and go throughout the town again in the same route and remove all trees, limbs and branches that this attachment can reach with the town tractor. By then, we should be into the kind of fall grass cutting season. We'll switch over to the mower head again and go through the whole town one more round.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for him? We will move on. Wisconsin Towns Association meets the end of the month. And so I'm hoping you all get a chance to go to that. Does anyone have any report on Bass Lake Rehab? All right, and I don't have anything else on internet broadband or the St. Clair County Districts 2 and 3. We will go on to public comment. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to public comment? You can come up here to the microphone, and it's for anything that's not on the agenda. Sure, go right ahead.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Adele Moran, and I was part of the recount, the April 5th recount here that we did for Darla Myers. Since then, I've done some additional research and I have some additional information to share. Oh, I can't bend over. So we'll go this way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Would you like me to start over?
No.
Okay, very good. Again, my name is Adele Moran. I'm a citizen of St. Joseph, and I want to speak about our some additional research I've done around our election processes and related information. It's odd that I was denied time on the agenda to discuss the township's processes. Open records show the town board chair approved the purchase of the technology to automate our elections, but claims no oversight of the process and therefore denied my request for time on the agenda. This would be like the CEO of a company authorizing the purchase of a financial system and claiming they have no oversight of the financial processes they automate. Regardless, based on the anomalies and some odd things I observed during the April election recount, I will continue to seek transparency and educate my fellow citizens with publicly available information. For example, does anyone know the turnout during the last presidential election? It was 90%. Anything above 75% is unusual. I'm also curious, do you know the number of records on the town of St. Joseph voter roll as of April this year? It's actually 4,653. Do you know how many of these records are active? 2,919. That means 37% are inactive records on our voter roll. That's a lot. Why are there so many inactive records kept? I suppose the good news is it can be detected if an old inactive record is for some reason activated again. Another question, do you know the number of ballots that were cast in the past presidential elections in our township? In 2012, it was 2,321. In 2016, 2,464. In 2020, in 2020, it was 2,875. When you look at the differences in ballots between 2012 and 2016, that's approximately 140 ballots. But for some reason, between 2016 and 2020, we had an increase of around 400 ballots. Again, very unusual. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak during public comment?
Can I just ask a question? I was just wondering about, they're gonna go through and reassess the town. Have we done yet?
That's on our agenda here in the Board of Review on number 1. Anything else under public comment? All right, we'll move on. You get your wish. Our tax assessor is here. Come on up to the microphone. We are under a reassessment this year because we fell below the minimum standard for the state. And so Mark has been running around the town, seeing all our new houses, and
Yeah, I've been hitting her.
you've been busy.
Yeah.
So as you all know, we have the Board of Review on here because we have to convene it again and adjourn it to a later date because we're not ready. And we're not ready because of, and you might want to tell the board
Yeah,
your process.
what we're doing this year is we're doing a complete reassessment of the township. And so therefore, the open book and board of review won't be until fall. The open book will be, was October 24th, 5th, and 6th. And the board of review won't be until November 3rd. Because you have to have a week between your last day of open book before you can have board of review. And you have to have the notices that you mail out to everybody for their value change. You have to have 30 days. So we'll get those notices out end of September. So, but yeah, we're out hitting it. There's 3 of us doing it and we're about halfway through it right now. And we got a busy month ahead of us here, but we've been out. I haven't been to your place. If you got an orange card in your door, that means we were there. But if you didn't,
I asked for the point.
oh, okay, I haven't got to those yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got about, I don't know, 25 cards that I gotta make appointments with. And I waiting for the end. I'm doing new construction right now. Wow, it's a lot of it. Oh, yeah, there is. But it's going real well. It's going real good. The people are really good, which is awesome. You got good people living in this town. You can be proud of that. And it's a nice town to drive around in. It's enjoyable, actually.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, anybody got any questions about this reval?
First of all, I'm going to ask this, wait, just a minute. I'm going to ask first of all on the board. They get to
Oh.
speak first.
Okay.
Anybody on the board have any questions for Mark? No? Okay, what would you like to ask?
Is there any appointments set up, or, I mean, is he just gonna come in my driveway? Because you could hear gunfire real quick. That's all I ask. Is there any Is there any notice
Did you-
given out to a
Well,
homeowner in St. Joseph Township?
I mailed a letter out back in
Yeah,
February
back in February.
that we were doing this revow. And I've had people like him. I've got about 25 cards that I pulled with phone numbers on them that called me for an appointment.
Okay.
Did you?
I didn't, I don't remember getting that letter, but there's a phone number and an email
Huh?
right there,
There you go.
and
Where do you live?
588 Perch Lake Road.
588 Perch Lake Road. Yeah,
But I'm just gonna say, there's 2 trespassing signs on the end of the driveway, and if somebody comes down that driveway
Yep.
that I don't know.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that doesn't.
yeah, I got,
seem to be-
Okay, anyone else with anything?
No, I didn't get the letter, or I didn't, somehow that got by me. If he can just make an appointment and put something on the calendar, I'm good with that.
yeah, that's all it rolls.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, no problem. But
Any-
otherwise, I do just show up. Yeah, I do.
Really?
Well, how else you gonna do it?
I was a construction superintendent.
Yeah, but
so,
there's no other way to do it. There's 1,800 houses in the town of St. Joe.
yes,
And if you set up appointments for 1,800 houses, it'll never get done.
I think you just have to organize better.
No, there's really no other way to do it.
Anyone else? Yes, sir, ma'am. Go ahead.
For my calendar, would you please repeat the open book dates preliminary?
Well, this is,
Tentative. This is not
Tentative.
set yet.
it's not cut in stone, but it's we're gonna make it work. It's October 24th.
5th and 6th,
Pardon?
October 24th, 5th and 6th?
Yes. I
Okay.
don't have there'll
And then
be
November-
staggered
and then-
times. I don't
And-
have
and
those.
And
yet.
November 3rd. Okay, that's
November
close enough
3rd.
for me today.
Yeah.
So
board
what my
review.
intention to do with this item on the agenda is that I will make a motion to convene this and reschedule it for September. And in September, we'll finalize those dates so we can have enough time for Terry to notice the open book and the board of review. Is everyone okay with that?
Second.
Well, I better make it a formal motion. I'll make a motion to convene the board of review for the town of St. Joseph and to adjourn it until September 8th at this time on our regular town board agenda in order to finalize the dates for the open book and the board of review at that time.
Second.
Any other questions from anybody on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes. We will move on to the Stillwater Rotary Bicycle event. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mark, for
you.
stopping in.
You bet.
Who's here for that? Anybody? The Stillwater Bicycle Rotary event is in your drive. Is this the first year or the second year? I can't remember.
I think it was.
I think it's the
thought it was-
second.
I thought it was the second also.
Yeah. So they've done it before, so I'm putting it out there as to if anyone wants to make a motion.
I move to approve the date of August 14th, 2022 for the Stillwater Sunrise Rotary Club's Bridge the Valley Bike Rally, which will include part of the town of St. Joe as per a map that they have submitted.
Second.
Would you like to amend your motion to make them aware that they are to put no permanent markings on our pavement?
Right, I was double checking that. So
I think they say that, but I want to make sure.
I'm going to amend the motion to include that they do not put any permanent marking on our roads and that they will secure the intersections as the route would deem. And I believe we also had one on there that they're responsible for picking up any trash that would be left behind on their route.
Do you second
Second.
that? Any other discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, that passes. On to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I think that's on the clipboard. Are you guys done with those or not? I just want to make sure you've looked at all.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you. So Redeemer Lutheran Church is here tonight. Dave, you're here on behalf of them. And this is the same thing that you've done in the past, asking for a temporary Class B license for your event.
Correct. And I have to point out that in the application that we filled out, 4 of us looked at it and none of us caught that I forgot to put the times down.
Right.
So
So
it
what's,
is for 3:30 PM to 8 PM. on that day.
okay. Let's see,
All right.
are we ready then? Oh, there, 3:30 PM to 8 PM.
Correct.
See, it just gets right by you. That's what happens. Go ahead, Lori.
Move to approve this September 10th, 2022 Redeemer Lutheran Church application for a temporary Class B retail license to be held 3:30 to 8 PM at 1097 Scott Road, Hudson, Wisconsin.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Thank you, guys. Have a great
Have a good
event.
time.
Okay, so then we are on to the concept CSM for Todd, for Sherman and Warren. And you're up for this, I take it?
I am.
Well, there you go. Have the mic is yours. Everybody, you have this map on your table. This is what he handed out at the Plan Commission meeting to go with the packet that was in your drive and in your box.
So what we're attempting to do here is the Hawkinson estate was for sale. There's 2 buyers. A buyer for lot 3 and a buyer for lot 2 on your concept plan. As the property exists right now, it's just one large chunk with a home on it. And so to do this sale, we have to get it split into the 2 chunks. And that's step 1 of the concept plan. Step 2 would be to eventually redevelop lot 2 into some more lots, a town road, et cetera. Lot 3, as I understand it, is going to just serve a single home. And lot 3's access will be coming off of 56th Street. For the time being, lot 2 will use the existing shared easement that's there right now, serving the 2 homes. And again, eventually, the goal is to develop lot 2 further. But step 1 is just to get it into 2 parcels for these buyers.
So these 2 parcels are 2 tax parcels.
They are 2 tax parcels.
Yes.
However, when the CSM comes in, we're gonna be adjusting the lines because the 40 line that exists, if you look on this,
Yep.
this map, is gonna be too close to that shed. So we're gonna have to adjust it. So,
And one of the comments at the Plan Commission was if they're going to adjust that, they might want to adjust it to include the easement going to the existing lot, or I call it lot 1.
yes,
So they would all be on one of these lots rather than crossing over 2 of these lots, which, and I don't believe there is any easement agreement, because this is all in the family, is what you were going to check on.
I did not see any kind of a,
Right, so that will have to be something that comes through with the CSM.
yep.
Yep. Anything else from anybody? You obviously got a few hoops to jump through to get this all finalized, but. are you
Well,
excited?
yeah, I mean, like I said, the first step would be just dividing this into 2 lots, coming back before the town and obviously to the county. The good thing is that it appears that the lots will be able to comply with ordinances, so.
So you plan on coming in next month? Is that your plan? I
That
guess
would
I'd
be
like
the
to know what your
plan, yes.
timeline is. All right. Anyone have any questions for him on this? Because it's a concept, we don't make a decision. But you know you're gonna have to put that, move that lot line between 2 and 3 to accommodate the shed and hopefully the easement.
Yeah, I guess I haven't worked out the details of that with the two buyers, because somehow they want to end up with the acreages that they assume that they're buying, so. Exactly how we accomplish that yet, we haven't delved into those details, but we'll figure something out.
Ah, this is what happens, you have a partnership.
Yes,
Anything else from anyone? All right, we'll see you next month.
thank you.
Next on our agenda is the major plat Chapman Hills reduction of letter of credit. Do you want to speak to that, Lee?
Yes, I will. Don't think my mic is powered up yet, but I'll talk loudly. So the developer for Chapman Hills has asked for a reduction to their letter of credit. The majority of the roadway improvements have been completed. There are some shouldering, street signage, and final stabilization items left. They have requested that the letter of credit get reduced to $32,300. As shown in the letter that was included with my letter. The remaining amount will cover 120% of the cost of the work remaining and 10% of the completed work as required by the town. And so therefore, we're recommending that letter of credit be reduced again to $32,300.
33,300 or 32,000?
$32,300.
Okay. They still owe us some money here, starting back in January. So they owe the board about $2,500. Usually in the past, when is anyone, first of all, is anyone online speaking for Chapman Hills? Doug, are you speaking for them at all? Okay, good. All right. So what I guess I want to say to the board is that and Chris, you can weigh in if you want here on this. I would like to make a motion giving them this reduction conditional upon them paying their bill. In other words, not allowing them to reduce their letter of credit until they pay the money they owe the town. Can I do that?
Well, you can do that, but as you know, we're holding a letter of credit, so ultimately we would be
Right,
able to collect the money.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about collecting.
but
the
you know
money,
how
but
that takes time and
I
effort.
understand. So,
Turn your mic on.
From a procedure standpoint, are we able to deny the reduction of the letter of credit tonight until the outstanding balance has been paid as a separate action?
I believe it's termed that they can request a letter of credit reduction and that the town has discretion in there. However, if it's not being used to secure future improvement completions, we still have the amount that they owe the town secured by the remaining balance. So it's really up to you what you want to do.
So how are you feeling about that? Lori, since you brought that up.
At this point, the letter of credit really is, I think that without going into the details of it, I think that we're reasonable to expect to be paid for the outstanding bills. And it's a simple request.
Yep.
And I would be, upon receipt of the check, I would be receptive in a future meeting of approving the reduction of the letter of credit.
So we could make that motion tonight conditional upon that. I'll make a motion to reduce the letter of credit for the Chapman Hills major plat to $32,300, conditional upon them paying the money owed to us on the invoices from 1/13/2022 through 6/15/2022. Upon payment of those invoices, we will file the necessary paperwork to reduce the letter of credit.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on that? Everyone okay with that? All
Why
those
do
in-
we have this in place
Yes,
if they're not cooperating correctly?
well, it's one way for us to get the money without having to take the letter of credit to do it. In the end, we might still have to do that, but I don't,
Oh.
you know,
I don't think they're playing nice, so I just want that on the record.
okay, I don't disagree. Anything else from anyone? All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed?
No.
Okay, opposed, thank you, it passed. Fields of White Eagle, is there an update on that?
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, there is just a brief update. Pre-construction meeting was held for this project last week.
Still.
Planned start date is July 25th. It's estimated that the construction will take about 7 to 8 weeks until ready for paving. So that's pretty much
So they're gonna try to get paid first lift done before winter.
it sounds like that's the goal.
Fantastic.
And all their documents have been recorded, accepted by the county, and we have the letter of credit for.
Okay.
Fields Way.
Anyone have any questions on that for him? On to Major Plat Arbor Ridge. You guys are up. So we have all the documents are in the drive. That was quite a list. Come on up to the microphone, microphone. I gotta pull mine up because I did have a question about one thing. What is that? Letters of credit, then they have to come to her so she can make a copy. And can you make a copy for the engineer here quick? We won't do anything important while you're gone. How's that? Do you want to just give a quick overview?
Yeah,
and
so
then
in the last couple of weeks, we've been scrambling to get the, all the documents in order and the, for the approval of the developers agreement. And so that's what you should have in your drive now.
Yep.
And I believe, as far as the letters of credit go, you've got the okay from your bank, you got the letters now. So we think everything's in order.
I'm gonna wait for her to come back out, and then if you turn on your mic, do you want to speak first, Chris, or do you want Lee to speak first? Well, Lee speak first when she comes back out. You want to give that to them, and then Lee's gonna chime in here.
Page one, yeah, sorry. Number 4, we need to change poets to cats.
In which document?
Technical covenants.
Oh,
Is this it?
Poets to pets,
no poets
no poets.
without being on a leash.
Well, you have to have a little humor here once in a while. She said
In
it
your-
says poets instead
Yeah.
of pets.
In your in your covenants.
You're putting poets on leashes, not pets on leashes. Either way. That's why I said we have to have a little humor here, Bob. Come on. Okay, what would you like to say here, Lee?
So there are various things that we need before the project can go forward. Plans need to be ready to be approved. We need the development agreement ready to be executed. We need the letter of credit. We need the stormwater management agreement. There needs to be a review of the homeowners association documents and the covenants and restrictions. And from the engineering side of things, the plans are ready to be approved. The letter of credit amounts have been calculated. I was just going to pull up some documentation just to double check these numbers on here, but they look familiar, so I believe that they're correct. The town attorney would need to just make any comments as far as the form of the letter of credit, since this is the first time we've seen it. I believe that the development agreement, and the town attorney can speak more on that, has been updated per our requests. And those are all the items that I have.
Okay. And then Chris, do you want to turn on your microphone? Because I know you had a couple of things. It's on.
I would agree with Lee and note that the development agreement looks good to go. As far as the letter of credit, I would indicate that this appears to be a letter of approval. A letter of credit will have terms on how it can be drawn upon and things like this. This is just.
Sure.
I understand it, and you're approved. We just need the official version of it. One thing I have substantive to say about this, which is something that would require a little bit of amendment, relates to the protective covenants in the homeowners association documents. Under the development agreement, it states that the covenant shall require that the drainage areas and ponds should not be altered or filled, and that the homeowners association will be responsible for the maintenance of said drainage ponds, with the cost thereof to be charged against each lot in the subdivision. So with this, I note that lots 1 through 4 are applicable to the homeowners association. Lot 5 is left off of that. I don't think that's a problem, but I just wanted to note that. But more importantly, on the last 17 on the restrictive covenants, it states the owners of lots 1 and 4 shall inspect and maintain all designated stormwater control runoff features installed pursuant to regulations in place at the state, county, and township levels, and the long-term stormwater management on file with St. Croix County Register of Deeds. I believe this should be fleshed out a little bit more, what the obligations are on behalf of the owners of lots 1 through 4, what they're committed to doing now and in the future to maintain 2 stormwater ponds that will be a part of this development. It's just, I don't think it's necessarily strong enough to indicate what their future obligations are, nor does it indicate to the owners of, prospective owners of those lots, what they're committing themselves to. Additionally, I think it should also be spelled out a little bit more in the obligations. This would be section 6 of the homeowners association, what those obligations are with regard to the stormwater ponds and any stormwater facilities located on the within the development. For example, common element is a phrase used in the homeowners association. And it says that terms in the homeowners association are defined in the restricted covenants. Well, that definition doesn't exist in the restricted covenants. I would think that stormwater ponds would constitute a common element here, but I just think it needs to be more clearly spelled out what the homeowners association is going to do with regard to the maintenance of the stormwater ponds and drainage areas. Those are my only 2 comments. I think both of those can be addressed within the HOA and the restricted covenants, but right now, I don't think these 2 documents are adequately specific enough with regard to the homeowner's obligations to maintain stormwater infrastructure as part of the development.
Is this something that the developer can bring to you for approval and we can go forward with this?
If the board is comfortable with
Conditional?
that, I'm comfortable with
Conditional?
that.
Like we did with the last one, we
Yes.
conditioned on you? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah,
Okay, and I presume you are too.
Do you have an idea of what he's looking for in that language?
so there's language in the stormwater, long-term stormwater management agreement that details more specifically what that agreement is and what it entails. And I think that's the kind of language
Is
that
there
he's
language in
looking.
the county
No.
somewhere
No, it's-
referred to what maintenance entails?
I don't think the language will be difficult to come up with. I
Yeah.
just don't think the language on maintenance that exists within these 2 documents is sufficiently specific to alert the homeowners to what their obligations are and to spell out what the homeowners association has to do to maintain these ponds. So,
And what you're saying is in the stormwater agreement, there is some stronger language there, it just didn't get transferred into these 2.
It sounds like the same language that's in that document should probably be in this, just to make sure that it's spelled out in the HOA.
and, you know, again, I'm very comfortable with conditional approval. I just wanted to raise this issue because, I don't think this particular version of the restricted covenant should be recorded on the properties. It should have the stormwater obligations expressed in there. And that's it. So I don't
So
think
it's
it's,
pretty minor, but it's
it's-
major to us. And so if that's something, Doug, you could do and send that through the attorney for his approval,
Yep.
we can do a conditional approval on getting that done
Sure.
with a letter of credit, because you have paperwork that says that he has been approved, but we don't have the actual LLC. Anything from anyone else? All right, I'll make a motion to approve the the documents that were submitted for Arbor Ridge, including the covenants, the construction schedule, the stormwater, the homeowners association agreement, the, I'm trying to think, one more here, the developments agreement and the protective covenants, and all other documents that were submitted conditional upon the language change in the HOA and the protective covenants to more clearly identify what the attorney spoke to tonight regarding those stormwater pond responsibilities. Is there, and that this is conditioned upon that language getting taken care of to the attorney's approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it for a little amendment.
You're gonna have to turn your mic on, Lori. You guys don't like to leave your mics on at that end of the table. Go ahead.
I'll second it. With a request for an amendment,
Okay,
because this file folder in our Google Drive is quite extensive with important documents, I would like an amendment to state that it includes all the documents in the town board Google Drive full file folder for the July 14th town board meeting. And that includes all the documents that were loaded in July 12th, 13th, and 14th as of the time of this meeting.
that's probably a better way of stating it rather than how I stated it, because I was trying to get them all in there. So I will amend my motion to include that this approval includes all the documents in our Google Drive for the July 14th meeting under the Arbor Ridge folder that included all the ones entered in July 12th, 13th, and 14th for Arbor Ridge. Do you second?
Second,
Okay. Anything else?
Discussion, is there a deadline that we need to assert for the corrections of that data?
Nope.
Information? Okay.
Nope, he's on his own on that one. Anything else from anyone? You're okay with that, Chris?
I'm okay with that.
All right.
Absolutely.
Are you guys okay? Yes, sir?
I'll have it next week.
Okay,
Does that mean we could try to get together, like schedule a pre-construction meeting?
that's up, if he approves and we can get this stuff signed and filed, he can get your schedule started, right?
We can schedule a pre-construction meeting. Just everything has to be in before it actually occurs.
We thought it'd be a couple of weeks to be everybody's schedule.
Sure.
That works.
I can't imagine we wouldn't be done with this by next week, so.
So you're okay, Doug?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
fine.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that passes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, Bob, you're getting there. It, I know, it takes time.
It's been a long time.
That's all I'm gonna tell you. It takes time. Okay, Midco is not here tonight because they are having a major meeting and will appear before us in August. Their meeting is of their company now that the grant funding has gone out on others for broadband. They are now taking a clearer look at what they intend to do here in the town, and they're coming in here in August with a plan. So they felt this is a little premature, and they felt they wanted to wait just 1 month because it's just the timing of it all. So they'll see us in August.
So point of clarification on this one, they do actually have an intention of building in the township?
Yep. Yep. And they did ask me again where we were underserved. I said to them, I'd be glad to provide them with a map. They said they have it. They just want to know if that's where we're talking about. And I said, yes,
Question,
yes.
are they bypassing talking to the ARPA committee or the technology?
They want no money.
Either way, are they bypassing
Well, because
presenting or discussion to either of those groups, either
No.
ARPA or technology?
they talked to technology about what they wanted to do here. They have not talked to ARPA because they're not asking for any funding. And ARPA is only concerned with the ARPA funds, and they're not asking for any funding. So there's really no reason for them to come to ARPA if they're not asking for money.
What about the technology committee?
They were before the
They've talked
technology.
to us.
I'm sorry, Anton, go ahead.
They talked to us about 2 months ago.
Okay, so and you're, so the commit, Anton, on behalf of the committee, that is adequate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That clears up the question.
So I do have a question about this. If this moves forward, this could modify what decision comes from the technology committee for ARPA funding.
Well-
Depending on what information they provide to the board.
At
in
this
August.
point, the ARPA committee is sending their recommendations to the board in August.
Mhm. But what
The
I'm,
timing isn't the greatest.
that's never is.
It never is. So technology meets next week?
Yep.
And they can talk about this. I mean, they've heard from them and they're looking at a possible commitment to us in 23.
Okay.
And they're coming in here in August to tell us what they're gonna do and when they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I think my concern is that the technology committee, as far as I know from being at the meeting, they had requested to submit funds from ARPA. They had put it on the agenda. What I am saying is, if Midco is coming in and saying, we've had this meeting internally, these are the regions we're covering, we then wouldn't likely want to pursue funds out of our ARPA for that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, how are we going to coordinate that so that the technology committee is aware and the board is aware? Because the deadline with ARPA, I think, is August 5th is the due date for that committee to submit.
Right.
So if the committee submits to the board on August 5th, the plan, and then we get a presentation from Midco on the
12, 11.
12th, 11th.
11th, it's right on here.
Yeah, it's right on there. I was looking for them. Then would the board just be modifying what that committee has?
Remember, the committee is not making the decision.
No, I know, but what
The
I'm saying
committee is
is,
just ranking their proposals. And the committee knows from the technology committee that Midco has made this presentation to them. So now Midco is committed to us to coming back in here in August and talking to us about what they can do for the town
okay,
at zero cost. We're gonna listen to them and it'll be up to the board what direction, where you want to spend this money. Because the ARPA committee was never in charge of the spending. They were only in charge of
No, I
putting
understand
together a
that.
list.
but what I'm saying is, well, I guess then I would just ask that the Midco presentation be made prior to the ARPA presentation. Or is the ARPA presentation in September?
No, ARPA's in August. It's all coming to us in our August meeting.
So what I'm saying is, we would want to hear from the Midco presentation before we make a decision on ARPA
sure.
spending. Because there is I don't know if the committee will put it forward, but
Right.
there is a request to spend ARPA
Yeah.
funds. So I'm just saying in the agenda, it would probably be beneficial
You're
for us
talking
to
on
hear.
our agenda. Yeah,
Yes.
I get that. Yep, absolutely.
Is there anything I need to?
Was that a motion? Because I'm in agreement. I would like that same thing.
Yeah, I can do that. That's no problem.
Yeah, I don't know that we need a motion to
Yeah.
put it on the agenda. I think
That's
it
what
just
I'm
comes to the
asking.
chair.
And I'm not sure the board is going to make any decisions on ARPA funding in August. I think our biggest thing in August is to listen to what the committee has brought to us.
Okay.
You know, and then maybe September, we actually make a decision, but I'm not in a huge rush to get a decision made. The committee's finalizing their packet to us and they're going to present it to us. And we're going to have to listen to them and then we'll have some time to kind of mull it over. Okay, everyone okay with that? We'll move on.
Yep, thank you.
No problem. Perch Lake Road erosion issues on the major road project. How are we doing on those?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, the flumes that we've discussed in the past have been completed. The restoration of seeding and erosion blanket up to the edges is completed as well. The pay application that we'll talk about in the next item includes this work. And just as a administrative item that we do need to get change order number 5 that was approved at the last meeting, which is is for these flumes signed by the town. So we
Yep.
should get that paperwork done.
Okay. You have a pay request in here for the 2021 rehab project.
Yes,
Is that what we're talking about next here with this update on 30th? Is that part of that?
so the pay request includes work on Purge 30th and the added work on Bluebird and Sundance in the amount of $129,457.33. And as far as the total contract amount is concerned, that's 95.74%.
Okay, what pay request are you looking at? Well, I come up with 100. Oh, I see, right down here is the 129. I was looking at the 126, sorry.
Yep.
Okay. So this is pay request number 7. Does anyone have any questions to Tim? I see they were out shouldering today on 30th. So they're getting there. Does anyone have, questions on any of this? I'll make a motion to pay request number 7 for the 2021 road rehab project for Monarch Paving Company in the amount of $129,457.33.
Second.
Any other questions or comments regarding this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it passes. Okay. Church Street.
Yes, we have an update on Church Street as well. We are working on an easement agreement with the property owner on Peterson Street, which is part of the project that we are looking at for the Church Street project that will be constructed next year. There is no full road right of way on Peterson Street, and so we are in negotiations with the property owner on that particular item. Though I guess I will just mention that those negotiations are going well, and we anticipate wrapping that up relatively soon. As far as the conditional use permit is concerned, as I may have mentioned at previous meetings, we are targeting getting that submitted in September so that we can avoid the November and December months as far as the meetings that the county will be looking at that conditional use permit, since the latter Thursdays in November and December are Thanksgiving and Christmas weeks.
Yes.
So we're not confident of that schedule, so we want to get in before that. So that is our plan. The next thing on there is the targeted runoff grant program. We did receive.
Now speak up on this one, because this
We
is
did
good
receive
money.
$135,000 for the ravine part of that project, which is excellent.
Yeah.
So we will be putting together an updated budget for the project and the balance of the major road project loan funds by the next Public Works Committee meeting. And then obviously also we'll have that ready for the board as well.
So that's exciting that we got that grant money. That is really good for us. And the good thing that we delayed this a year to get it. I think this is awesome. And thank you, Lee, for doing that application.
It worked out well.
It did.
Was this the grant where we had to commit to a certain percentage matching? Was that the?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we had committed to this Church Street project, but this is the part that goes down to the river that we have to control.
Okay.
And this targeted runoff management grant program is what we applied for, but we could not start the project.
Until we received the approval or
Well,
denial.
We could have done the project, but if you start it, you can't get the grant.
Okay.
So
But
you
this is
have-
the one, I believe the conversation was a commitment of like 50% matched funds or something
I
like
think
that.
it's 50%.
I think that's what it was.
Okay,
But we'd already dedicated the funding to it, so we had it. It's just a question now that we can use some of that funding for something else.
yep,
Perfect.
thank you.
Anyone else on that? I think it's great for us. I left the bipartisan infrastructure law local project. There's new things happening there, but it's still a little convoluted. And I just keep listening to what's going-
Webinars.
Yeah. What's going on there?
Well, we did have Kelly take a look at this latest one
Yeah.
that was sent, and it does not appear to be a good candidate for trails. For example, to connect the loop trail up to
Yeah.
Somerset. there's from what we can tell so far, the construction grant eligible projects have to be a minimum of $10 million. So that's a little outside, the scope of that trail. And I think that there may be possibility for a planning grant, but we've already done a lot of planning on that. and Probably really don't need that at this time. So we will keep our radar out on these things and keep the board updated as we find information.
Fantastic. The next thing on here is a letter that's in your Google Drive. Lee spoke to me because there's been a major turnover at county in the community development office, and they're going for outside consultants to do their stormwater reviews. And so I put together this letter with Lee's help, asking the Community Development Committee and office to consider letting the town of St. Joseph, since we're already under our own zoning, we have already been doing roads for 25 years at least. We've had subdivision for 30 some years, to let us take over our stormwater review. Because right now, and if Doug was here, he could speak to it, but right now, when you come in with a subdivision, you come in for review by our engineer, but you have to go to county for review on the stormwater. And then you have to come back to our engineer for those approvals. And so it's a little convoluted. This would let it go through one whole process by itself. They would still have to oversee the Riverway district, because that's their zoning, and any of the, what's the other one called around the lakes? I can't think. It's Riverway and Shoreland. Shoreland one. So they'd still have that approval process in place, but as long as they're hiring outside consultants to do the stormwater reviews for the county, what's the difference if you, for instance, hired Lee to do it for county or hired Lee to do it for the town, is what I'm looking at. So I put this letter in here for you to review. I do have one typo on it because it says ensure with an I instead of an E, but I just, Lee recommended that we take a stab at this and see what happens.
So my first question would be, how much does it cost the town or the landowner if St. Croix County is doing the stormwater review process?
Well, it doesn't cost us, it costs them. I can look up their fee schedule.
Yeah, we'd have to look up their fee schedule.
It costs them, meaning the developer,
Yes,
The developer pays for the stormwater reviews,
and that's a flat rate.
no.
not for the town. I don't know what it is for the county.
No, for the counts, for St. Croix County, when they do it, it's a flat rate to do the stormwater review to the
I think it depends on. the number of
contractor or the
lots.
individual. Well, I don't really want to speculate on it depends and be asked to.
Well, I can look it up, but go ahead.
No, there isn't any go ahead about it. It's me. I want to do, I know it, I want it drop dead no, how it works in the county. Before I'm signing up a developer for an additional fee from our town engineer.
Well, because they're already paying additional fees there at the county.
There's a big difference on a price per hour and a flat fee. 'Cause some of them can be pretty complex.
Here's a different zinger.
Okay,
What if we don't have Stantec no more? Then we'd have to get a firm. that would
You're always
rep-
going to have an engineering firm.
What's that?
You always have to have an engineering firm.
Okay, so with the documentation, it's going to be with us for any engineering company?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just a second, I'm getting there.
It looks like it's part of it, yeah. Now, as
Stormwater review, well, I can't even talk. Stormwater and erosion review by county is a $1,200 plus $95 per lot. That's on their fee schedule on the county. So 10 lots would be over $2,000.
So Teresa, just so I understand, the ask here is if we can send this letter to county?
Yes, I'm asking if
So-
you want to approve sending this to county to see what their reaction is to this. It may be a flat out no. It may be a maybe. We don't know.
Yeah, so I think even if we send this just as more of an information gathering, we don't have to move forward with it.
Right.
So at an à la carte engineering rate for stormwater to do this service, if you figure $2,000 at the county, just using their basics, what you just cited,
Yeah.
it doesn't take very many hours at an engineer rate to burn up $2,000. Not at all.
That's correct.
But we also don't know if they're going to change this.
No, we don't.
Because they're going to hire outside consultants. Now
Yeah,
they're going to be at a different rate than.
I'm,
what-
gonna say
I
that
just
they
want to have an open,
Yeah.
upfront conversation about what the
Absolutely.
logistics and the impact can be, along with taking on the other responsibility and the decision at this level and the clerk's office to do this. Because none comes without a fee attached to it, either directly or behind the scenes. So I just want to be very clear for discussion. That's all I'm asking.
Well, and another piece of information, as Teresa mentioned, the county is going out to find a consultant to do their stormwater reviews for them. Stantec is one of 3 firms that is being considered. I believe that they were thinking of making that decision soon. So just again, full disclosure of that.
And St. Croix County does have very concise ads out for help and what those responsibilities are for those incoming employees. So, which I don't find alarming. And I think that St. Croix County is going to have a good negotiating rate for whoever they hire to do this for the whole county. It's a big account for the county.
So do you want to send this letter to them and get an idea about where they're at on this or not?
I think we're being premature in sending out the letter.
I think we're being proactive and letting them know we're interested.
I don't think it would take too much to figure out that we think we can do it as good as them, and I don't think they'd be the least bit shocked to get a letter for us to ask this.
Where's everyone else at? Anyone want to make a motion on this?
Yes,
Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
I kind of partially agree with him that we ain't agreeing to nothing tonight.
No,
So I think we move forward and see what they say.
I'll make a motion to send the letter with the condition that the spelling change is made to the
Okay.
county.
is there a
Second.
second?
Could you repeat it? I kind of couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna make the motion to send the letter with the condition that those spelling changes made. I'd like to just understand where the county's at this. And we're not making any obligations to make a change tonight.
Right.
Second,
So I have a spelling error on the document. That's why I mentioned that. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. On to Public Works. You have a pay request on the 2022. Where am I? 2022 rehab project, maintenance project.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we did start the patching on 80th Street. I believe that is complete. We did run into a few soft spots that we had to address as well. The pay request is $22,222.94 for what work they have done thus far.
To date. Anyone have any questions on this? I'll make a motion to approve pay request number 1 for the Town of St. Joseph 2022 road maintenance project for Farner Asphalt Sealers LLC and the amount of $22,229.94.
second,
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, and it passes. Sale of chipper and sale of retriever. So first of all, let's do the chipper.
is Lee done?
Is Lee done? I should ask that. I'm sorry. Is Lee done until we get to,
I'm not done. I have several more items here.
oh, go right ahead.
No, later in the agenda.
Later in the agenda.
All
Yeah,
right.
so go ahead. You start with the chipper. These are all
We
set.
made a motion at the Public Works to sell the chipper,
Oh,
and
these-
we're
These two, I need the operators.
we're moving forward with advertising for that.
Did they come up with a price? I wasn't at that meeting. And what is the means for selling it?
I missed, sorry, we were trying to get stuff done over here. Go ahead, I'm sorry. I
No,
apologize.
that we made a motion at Public
Yeah.
Works to sell the chipper,
Yep,
and I believe the trade-in value, which I converted to street value, was like $800.
okay,
You know, it's just a PTO chipper.
chipper. Do you have anyone interested in purchasing it?
I don't believe we've sent out an ad because we kind of paired it up with the retriever.
Okay. So that's one thing. And then the retriever, do you have the numbers or do you want me to read the numbers on the retriever?
Go ahead.
So, and we bought the retriever in 2016 for just over $10,000. The company that sells retrievers and especially out west wants to give us $41.50 with it and will not charge to pick it up and take it. So we don't have to pay to ship it, which would be a chunk of change. And they are willing to do that, and we just need to agree to that and have them come and get it. So where's everybody on this?
Did we have an assessed value of the retriever? Just a,
It's an implement. It's tough to put a price on it, you know, as far as going up and looking at it, it's a nice condition. The technology on how to treat the shoulders has changed dramatically
Yeah.
now, and then on top of that, we've improved quite a few of our roads where we don't need the retriever anymore. It's sad to see it go, but it's gotta go.
It's outlived its usefulness. I guess that's the
It's-
best
We
way to say
improved
it.
so many roads here that
Yeah, that's outlived its usefulness. Anyone else have any? Yes, go ahead.
I'm just thinking outside the box. So it's a piece of equipment. We paid 10.6. We all know that it probably depreciates, and just in our everyday equipment at our homes, you know, we're getting back half of what we spent for that. That isn't totally out of the realm of it's a used piece of equipment, no matter how many times it was used, and no matter how good it looks up there. And if it would have to be shipped or picked up by someone, we're looking at today's shipping prices. I can't imagine that it's not hundreds or if not $1,500 to, you know, ship it very far.
It's shocking what shipping rates are right now.
So,
I'm sure you
well, I know
probably
if you
know.
want-
$4 a mile is what I slap on stuff.
It's $1,800 to ship a used car.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm,
I
you
just
know,
was buying a rolling ladder for someone. It's $500 to ship that thing from Michigan.
well, not to get off track, I'm gonna
No.
loop back. You know, I don't like to say that we're gonna sell something that we paid twice as much money for 7 years ago, but I do agree with Chris that our methods for managing those shoulders and roads is substantially different than it was at the time that they made the decision, and at the time the decision was made. It was a good decision at that time, but it no longer serves our needs, and there's no point in letting it sit out beside the building and continue to depreciate.
well, then I think there's some opportunity costs of us not paying to advertise. This is
Yeah. so
essentially
once it's
retaining
done,
39% of the value right up front. So
then we're done with it.
And if you look at it from an accountant standpoint, you lost $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
which is
Which
about
we
right.
And if
that-
we were,
we
and
use
if
it
we,
that
and
much.
if we were a business and we could depreciate it, which we cannot because we're the government, we'd be breaking even.
So, and are you intending, let me just ask a quick question on the chipper. Are you just intending on advertising that, or do you,
I'm gonna work closely with our office and we're gonna advertise.
Okay,
Is the chipper, is there $800 different topic, but we need, can I just make a motion that I move that we accept the offer of $4,150 from this company
in Montana.
in Montana and go forward with having it picked up as soon as they can.
Second,
That was quick. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and
Mike, now on the chipper, is it a possibility that a small business or homeowner could use this chipper more effectively? It doesn't work for us. It's not, it's,
they have to have a tractor, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to have a PTO.
Yeah.
so if they have something with a PTO, they could run this. Could they run it with a large John Deere with a PTO?
yeah,
Okay, then I'm fine. I'm gonna move to approve the sale of our chipper for a fee of $800.
second,
And then you'll work with it.
And I'll authorize
Office on
Chris
that too.
Marshall to work with the clerk's
Yeah.
office.
Yeah. You'll work with
Terry's
the
already
office.
got pictures.
Perfect.
It was in our pending.
Is our pending file. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed. Before I go further down into this agenda, is anyone here for any specific thing on this agenda that you're waiting for? If not, that's fine. I just wanted to know. We will go on for Hudson Area Joint Library. If you all have time, there is a bunch of information. I don't know if it's in this part of the folder or if it's in the other. Yes, it's some here. There's been information bouncing back and forth at county and the city. There was an administration committee meeting on, I believe it was Monday night. And so if you get a chance, go on the county website. It's in the first 15 minutes of the meeting, what they were talking about. We signed a resolution asking the county to take over the funding for the library by taxing the residents for that. And we would no longer tax for the library. That resolution has since been withdrawn by the county and the city, and they are now looking at another way of funding, which would include us still levying taxes for it. And the county would levy the difference needed for the library, which would be approximately $400,000. In your drive is letter from the Wisconsin Counties Association to St. Croix County regarding this type of agreement. So please read that. This will be on your agenda next month. In August, we have to decide if we are going to be exempt from library tax and tax for another year. If we decide we want to get out of the library, we have to give them a 12-month notice. If we decide to stay in the library, are we going to enter into an agreement with the county on this? So please read that very carefully before you come to the next meeting. I don't want a whole lot of discussion about it tonight, but that is where we're at on this, and things have not been finalized, but we're under deadlines for August 30th. We have got to file our exemption to county library tax by that date. We have no choice. So
what page of this 12-page document do you want us to focus on? Because I think there's some.
it is the confidential legal memorandum that is to Heather Amos, St. Croix County Corp Counsel from the Atoli's law firm.
Just a minute, I'm in the wrong folder.
And I do,
How I understood it was all written wrong, right? It wasn't
The
legit,
original one,
yeah.
yes.
And then I struggle with how we keep propping up the library.
I don't disagree. So I'm just letting you know that this document is in here. If you want the clerk to copy it for you, she can do so, but I want you to read it. It is from an outside attorney regarding this agreement, and it is fraught with some issues.
I think
I'm gonna
there,
make a request that our library have its own Google Drive folder with all these
Can you do
documents
that?
coordinated, because this is in with
So
several documents that have nothing to do with the library. And
everything in that joint library PDF under number 12 is the library. That's all the stuff that was at the county meeting.
I'm going to state that in the correspondence file folder, there's several documents stated for the Hudson Library. And I'm just asking that it be lumped together. So
Okay, that's fine.
which one of these by title do you want me to read?
Confidential legal memorandum to Heather Amos, St. Croix County Corp Counsel.
So I still haven't found it, unless it is when I open up one of these 14 letters that are in there.
So if you open up the PDF, the first 3 pages, you go down, you see a
What's the PDF called?
You want to just
What?
share your screen?
joint library PDF. I'll share my screen. That would be nice. Thank you. Oh. See, hold on.
All my PDFs are.
Well, while we do that, I do believe that this is on next month's administration agenda as well, again.
Yeah. Share.
So this county will be discussing.
Here it
again.
is. Is it coming up? There it is. That's what I want you to look at. I'm not going to put it
No,
up. where-
that's fine. I just need to find, I don't know what I'm looking for.
So here's, the PDF starts with some of the
All right.
Oh, all
stuff.
that budget
Stuff, and then it comes to the resolution, and then it comes to this intergovernmental, which is not gonna fly. That's why it's not in there totally, and then it comes to this.
All right.
And it's attorney-client privilege, so I'm not gonna put it all on the screen, but that's what I want you to read.
Is it 12 pages? Yes. Okay, I know which one it is.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
6 of 12.
I found it. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I apologize that was hard to find. How do I unshare? Oh, stop share right there. Thank you. I'll get smarter at this as time goes on. Okay. So have that ready in the next time. I know the library, just a second. Hudson Library is on here. Is there anything else you wanted to say to that?
No, we are, in a holding pattern, waiting to get more information. And they are sending that legal opinion to the Department of Revenue to have the Department of Revenue respond. Because the second letter from the Department of Revenue said that the plan was permissible, and in fact, they had a better way of doing it that they suggested. That got us to the same spot, but involved some different steps.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else? We'll move on and have that on the agenda. Justin did attend that meeting for me, so he is kind of not up to speed, but has a lot more knowledge than he did going in.
It's amazing what you can learn from one meeting.
Okay, impact fees. Did you want to speak to that, Lee?
Yes. Madam Chair, members of the board, at the last board meeting, we discussed the situation with the road impact fees. In that the projects that were identified in the needs assessment, the road projects have been completed. And so therefore the impact fees have been utilized and have paid for their proportionate costs on the different major road projects in the last couple of years. And so there is no further need for impact fees for those roads. However, due to the timing, we have continued to collect fees that are not needed for those roads. And so one of the questions that came up was if trails can be funded with impact fees. The town attorney and I have researched that issue, and we have determined that yes, trails can be funded with impact fees. However, like any other facility that can be funded with those types of fees, they need to be identified in a needs assessment report. The other item that's important to note about the trails is that typically there will be a prorated amount that is eligible for impact fees, because the trails will be utilized by not only the future development, but also the existing development of the town. So there would have to be a calculation based on, current, population, homes, et cetera, versus, the future build out, as far as, how you split the costs. The system would need to be identified. Now, the town does have a bike and ped plan, so we probably are very close to having what we would need from that aspect. But that plan we need to double check that plan and make sure that it's clear what the town is proposing to do with the trails in the town. And then the needs assessment could be updated to include the trail system. And then impact fees for new development would be calculated and then could then be collected from new development. One of the questions that may have been on the board's mind that is what can those fees that we've collected, that we don't need at the moment, what can those be used for? And it is the consensus based on, reviewing the statute and the intent of those fees, that the fees that we've collected for the roads that we do not need to be refunded. We can't just take those fees and put them in a trail fund at this point because we do not have trails in our needs assessment. We would need to go through that exercise to, again, double check our bike and ped plan, make sure it's exactly where the town wants it, and then update the needs assessment to include the trails.
Question?
Go ahead.
When you're referring to the bike and ped plan, are you actually referring to our 2014 bike and pedestrian facility study?
Correct.
All right, so that needs some work. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for him?
Another. You said we can use them for trails. Is there any restrictions on whether they have to be on road trails versus off-road trails? Or is that a piece that we'll have to look into and clarify as part of our future discovery work?
I don't believe there's a distinction.
Oh, good.
No.
Okay, thank you.
So right now, we're still collecting these, but if we're gonna go through with a new needs assessment, he can take a look at the current one. I don't believe there's anything left on there that we can use these impact fees for, but you can check that. And then we can make a determination before the end of the year whether we're going to return some of these or not, based on what he comes back with.
So if Lee comes back, would there be any reason for us to continue to collect road impact fees? Or would we want to discontinue those as soon as possible for the purpose that we're getting them? Or do we want to just go status quo through the end of the year and refund them? We're gonna be refunding them either way, is what I'm thinking.
So there were, again, my recollection of the needs assessment in its totality is that it included a fee for the fire facilities, it included a fee for parks, and it included a fee for roads. So the fire facility fee has been discontinued because that was taken care of. The road projects have been completed, so there is no need to collect any more road fees. So any road fees that have been collected to this point need to be refunded. So you can do that now, or you can collect more and refund more later, but I don't know if there's any, I don't know personally if there's any advantage to continuing to collect fees that are going to need to be refunded.
Well, that was my question. So that the board's gonna have to make that decision
Right.
along with
Right.
after you come back.
Right.
All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Just from my education of impact fees is not quite there yet, but one of the things that a few people have asked me is about gravel roads and something like that, where they could be converted over to blacktop. And I don't think that was something this could be used for, but it was a question that was posed to me. So is that something that would be addressed in a study of like a need? If you have a group of people who are like, at this point, we have washout every year, something like that as part of the conversation. We would need to do a new study, define that as a need, and then define those impact fees to that study, correct?
Well, the issue with the gravel roads, and I'm thinking of a couple of them off the top of my head, is those are in existing developments.
Yep.
And impact fees are there for new development to pay their share of facilities that need to be upgraded because of the new development.
Yep.
So when a new development comes in, they build their own roads. So they pay for that. And the impact fees, we had roads, collector roads that were not to the standard width. And so because of new development, because of more traffic, the need to have those become the standard width is the eligibility for the impact fees.
Okay, thank you.
So gravel roads typically are not, that's either a maintenance issue or an improvement issue for an existing neighborhood.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we know, so we have kept meticulous records as to who paid what when. And as we have spent it, we have kept records of which impact fee monies we've taken to use. You use the oldest to the newest. So now we can decide what we're gonna do here. If we're gonna suspend road impact fees at this time and wait to see whether we want to do a new impact fee study on an expansion of a trail somewhere, say on River, let's take River Road, could be one. Or if we don't want to do that at all and change our needs assessment just to reflect the needs we have in the park, which is not done yet. So that's where we're at with the board here. I mean, I guess just for logistics, it's probably best right now that we suspend roads so we don't collect anymore. And whatever the building inspector has collected to date is what he's collected to date. And then we can have Terry come back in August and give us a list of who this would be refunded to. With, that, so we would know what we're dealing with here. And that's in a separate account. So it's not like we're gonna look for it anywhere. It sits in the road impact fee account. It doesn't go anywhere but there. And we are using some of that yet this year because we're paying for the improvements on the Perch Lake Road width on those flumes. So that'll come out of the impact fees this year yet. So that's why I'm a little hesitant to mail those checks back until we get through this project.
So would you be looking for a motion for a moratorium on the impact fee?
Only for roads.
Only for roads?
And it's not a moratorium, it's a suspension.
It is a suspension. Okay.
Yeah. Right, Chris, I said that right? Yeah, it's a suspension.
Yep, thank you.
No. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is the case to bring this up, but the Birch Park Hill, on County Road E, go down and then on the west side of the road, there's like a big house.
Yep.
Side of the road that's there very.
Yeah, that's right out the county highway. County's aware of it, and in this road project, they're taking care of it. Yep.
It seems like it's not going.
I know, because the utilities cut through there, that's why. Okay, so do you want to make a motion to suspend?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to suspend the roads impact fees.
Second.
Any other discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and that passes, so we will do that at this time.
We don't need a roll call on something like that.
Not on a suspension, because we're not changing the ordinance.
Right.
So we'll suspend them at this time. I'll have this back on the agenda in the future. Once we get through this project and know how much more money we're spending, I really don't want to refund anything until we get through this and we know we're done. Okay, and then do you want to bring back an idea of what it would cost us to upgrade or update our needs assessment for the impact fee
Absolutely.
next month?
Yep.
Perfect.
And
you.
a facility study.
If I can,
That needs assessment, yeah.
Yeah, the facility studies outside of that.
Yep.
One last question. You got the load count for the chips?
let's see, Ryan, I think Ryan has that. He is
Ryan's on
connected.
here.
He's connected. Ryan, can you unmute and talk to us about the seal coat load count
Did
for
you find a
the
spot or you still want a spot?
rock?
It is at 470 tons, assuming an average of 20 to 22 tons per truck. That would be approximately 20 to 25 truck loads. For the
Good.
truck.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Anything else on roads? Lee's hanging out because he's gonna do park here, but we have a couple of things before that. Update on our maintenance issues, the door painting and the painting of the fire hall, east wall, and et cetera. I did reach out to Bruce Paulson, who is with Stantec. He's their senior project manager and architect. Our cost for repainting the doors with BuildWorks ended up being approximately $2,520 is what it cost us. He said the town of St. Joseph does not owe any money to the former company that we had hired. The money was held for the doors repainting. He has also left a voice message with Dakota Glass Company to see if they will send us our warranty on our windows, which is 2 years and would expire in September of this year. So we have not heard back on that. I asked him if we owed Stillwater, the Stillwater company that did the rest of the work here, any money, and he said, no, the agreement at the end was they would give us that money in order to take care of this problem, and they went away. So does anyone have any questions regarding that? So we came out of that pretty good. All right. The fire hall painting is done. And there was some cracking in the east wall of the new addition that BuildWorks did come in and do repairs on. It had to do with water and freezing, of course, which it always does. And I'm just gonna get back here to this. It's up in your bills, if I can, invoices and bills, is that where it is?
No,
BuildWorks.
it's attached to the Bruce Paulson letter.
That was for the doors, but I'm talking about the other, which was the $440 is what it cost us to fix that wall. So that's done. And then you have your invoice in there for the remainder of the painting at about $6,500. And that included painting both buildings. They're all done, all primed, all painted, looks great in there. So that project is finished, and I did not hear anything back on any structural issues that they found. I think everything is stable in there, and that's why he caulked and cleaned it up. So I think we're in a good spot. Anybody have any questions? We'll move on. Park Committee. I see you have some stuff here for us, Lee, on the, well, first of all, we have a pay request. Can we do that first? Let's do that.
Certainly, the pay request enclosed with, or on the Google Drive for the current project is in the amount of $16,431.19. Basically, that takes it to 100% complete. However, we are still keeping a retainage of $864.80 until all of the final paperwork is submitted by the contractor. So the lien waivers, equipment warranties, et cetera.
So I understand that there's some issues out there with some heavy equipment that was on one side of that kind of tore up the grass and made some furrows. The gentleman who does our mowing said it's kind of a mess out there.
Okay.
So is it possible for you to check on that? Because I don't want to give him his final numbers until, I mean, the 880 until we're sure that that's cleaned up.
Yeah. Well,
Where's that cracking at?
I think it's the southeast corner that they ran over and made furrows. So when the mower goes over it, it can't mow level.
okay. Well, we'll have someone go out
Just
and
have
take a
to
look
take a
at that.
peek at it.
Yep.
Anyone have anything else on this pay request? If they want it, otherwise I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve pay request number 3 for the town hall playground equipment project for Roy Construction in the amount of $16,431.19.
Second.
Any other discussion on this?
Are you putting in your motion about our $800?
Well, that's
The
on this.
retainage that's listed there?
It's on here on the pay request. It's already on here.
It's part of it.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that passes. Okay, on to the bid project for the slide. Is that what we're looking at here that you brought us?
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, we do have plans ready, imminently ready to go out to bid for the hillside slide. project, which is a continuation of the overall project here at the town hall, the park project. The design landscape architect on this project, Jacob Bergstaller, is connected here tonight. As Teresa mentioned, the plans, I dropped off copies of the plans for the board. There are two plans, one for the site work and one for the slide equipment. And I am going to hand this over to Jacob to briefly go over some of the elements of the project and our cost estimates that we have at the moment, as far as what we think of how the bids may come in. And then obviously Jacob will be available for questions. So.
And there he is.
Turn it over to Jacob.
All right. Are you seeing the screen? I can't tell which screen I'm sharing right now. Are you seeing the plan set?
Yes, you are. Yes, we
Okay,
are.
wonderful. Thank you for having me tonight here. As we know, this is a continuation of the park project that was completed recently. It will be an extension of the facility, the amenities to add hillside play and hillside slides. There will be two sets, as Lee mentioned. There'll be a site work package and a equipment package. The site work contractor will be taking care of all elements such as the erosion control, removals, and protection of the site. Also grading. We all thought we had a great hillside there that was perfect for slides. However, slides need a 32% slope. So we will actually be doing some grading against that hillside just to not shock anyone. We need to cut back into the hillside a little bit to get that 32% slope so the slides will perform properly. Here is the final site plan as it sits to date. We'll have a concrete walk connecting to the existing concrete circle between the rain garden and the older play area. There is an existing drainage channel that is a drainage swale between the rain garden around the east side of the play container that we need to continue. So the idea is to have stepper stones, cut stone, leading up to the next segment of pathway. So the water will be able to overflow and head down that swale, which was just kind of tune graded this week to flow better around the east edge. As you get up to the developed area, you will have a play area to the left. As proposed right now, you're seeing the base bid items. The base bid is going to be two plastic slides running in tandem next to each other. A great opportunity for children to do a little bit of racing play, and opportunities to get to the top of the hill would be to go back up the slope. There's also a climber series of equipment to the north, being represented as a net climber, and then into a transitioning in the middle to a climbing wall. Both things that are pretty typical to playgrounds. You might have seen them before. It's the rope portions that you see in playgrounds would be down here. And then what you would picture as a normal climbing wall would be the upper portion. So gives the kids a little bit different opportunity to use their comprehension and motor skills fine, and major motor skills to get up there. As a standard route to climb the hill, we will be introducing a series of steps and landings. We're proposing using the wood step strategy. I think we've done one recently in town here through a volunteer group, but it will be very similar construction with 6x6 timbers formed out to make the stairs. As we continue up the hillside, it would have aggregate base or stabilized aggregate inside of the stair tread to give a great pathway feel to that stair while cutting back on material costs from the lumber. Let's go back to the site plan if I can here. Grading works well with that hillside and the stairs. Rather than having a straight stair, it winds off to the right to add in an opportunity to introduce some more greenery in between the stairs and the play area. This keeps a good separation between people trying to climb here and, maneuvering up and down the hillside play area. As an alternate option to the site work package, we are showing a tree and 4 shrubs on that hillside. They will both be very hardy and resistant to kids playing in this area. It's being given as an alternate option just for the city to have, or the town to have, the granularity to that bid. So here's just the details showing how those steppers would function to get you across the drainage swale. And finally, we'll just jump over to a snippet of the equipment package. Very similar to the site works package, but we are dividing the labor between site work and equipment to get better costs for the equipment itself. It's better to have specialized contractors working on those items, as you all might know from the previous projects. Base bid, like I said, is a plastic slide, dual slide situation. This is a representation of that. I guess I can zoom in for the group. This is showing a 3-bay setup, but the one that we would be proposing is a 2-bay, and it would also have the fun bump in the middle. As an alternate bid, there will be a metal slide option with a single bay and a wider bay. As far as fitting on the site, you can see here, this dashed line or this grayed back line is the metal footprint. So both footprints would share the southern edge. The metal footprint actually takes up less room due to not having the wider splay of the sliding bed. So either option, when the town receives the bids, will fit, and there won't need to be any site changes. The bid package will go out with an or equal in the specifications. So as long as the or equal submissions come to us, we'll be able to dictate whether we accept them or not. And we would want those to stay inside of our footprint to avoid any redesign and redevelopment work for the site contract. Are there any questions on the site plans at this point?
Anyone? Did you have anything, Lori?
No.
Okay.
I've sat in several meetings on this.
Okay, go. I think we're okay with that. Go ahead.
Okay. The estimate at this point, you see the items in green are the base bid items as were mentioned. The base bid for the site work would include everything needed to take care of the site, get it up to par for the play equipment to be installed. Both contracts would be working parallel in the same time frame and have the same substantial completions, which we are shooting at for substantial completion of November of this year, if accepted, with a final completion at the end of November, if accepted. The overall site work came in around 27,000. The alternate for the plantings would be around 1,500. The base play equipment package would include grass mat surfacing, resilient surfacing for the play area. It would have the slide and both of the climbing structures. And finally, as an alternate item for the play equipment package would be the metal slide. Again, the base bid, we're estimating coming in around 57,000, and the play equipment alternate bid for the metal slide around 29,000. With all alternates accepted, the total estimated construction budget right now with the contingency would be $115,000, $516.60.
So can I back you up just a second?
Absolutely.
Are you saying that the metal slide is an additional amount, or that's what it costs?
That would be an additional amount,
Okay.
with the plastic slide being the base bid. Yes, so this is an
Gotcha.
additional amount. Yep.
Okay,
And that is due to a lot of skyrocketing metal shipping and availability issues. It's
sure.
quite substantially higher than when the estimate was drawn out 2 years ago. Initial estimates.
And Jacob, if I'm doing the math right, the
Yep.
amount without any of the alternates is approximately $85,000.
Correct, yes.
Educate me, Jake, on the I guess, performance of the poly slide versus the metal slide. I'm still of the understanding a metal slide is gonna get hot when it's facing west like that slide is.
Yes, you know, they'll perform pretty well. They will have a little more heat sink into the metal slide. We're proposing getting that tree in there, get a little bit more southern shading in the hillside area. I don't know the shade patterns of the existing tree just west of the slide. It will have a little bit of a heat sink, but these metal slides do exist, you know, elsewhere in the community. I know my community just had one in my neighborhood park here, and you know, my kids kept going down it. So it will have a little bit of a heat sink, but it will still remain safe to the children.
Anything else?
Jake, what's the life of a poly slide?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I would need to get back to you on that.
So that could be specified as a part of the bid. That they would state what the life of the poly slides would be.
Yes, yeah, I can figure that information out here for us.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, if you're gonna, why don't you come up to the table, Nina?
I'm Nina Bonner from the park committee, so I've been working with.
Hit the microphone.
I should know that.
I know.
I'm Nina Bonaker. I'm on the park committee. And I've been talking with Jacob and we have had meetings. And about the plastic and the stainless steel, which is the metal one we're discussing. Initially, we always wanted the stainless steel for longevity. But talking to the supplier, which is a company called Gorig, they have used them for many years. They can be repaired and they should not be an issue. So based on our, even if we like the stainless steel more, that's the reason we put as a general proposition and talk with Jacob about that to go with the plastic one. But we consider it's for the town based on what is available as funds and so on to decide which route you want. As the park committee, we really wanted the stainless steel for two issues, because it is more fun, the stainless steel, they go faster down. You have one which is wider and one is narrower. So a parent or two kids can go down the slide. The other one, yes, a parent can go with a slide on the lap. It's not the same thing, but cost is an issue and we understand that. I want to make some comment about general, when I've been here by the park quite often and talk with people, the families and children, and they're really happy what they have seen here. Of course, I have not heard it, but some people have some comments, some negative, they're not too happy. But I've heard from many, all the families I've talked to, they would love to have a slide. And I think if we get this slide here in this town, we have the unique position here with this steep hill to have a really nice slide. Other playgrounds, they have a small slide going down. It's not the same as this one. So that is my input from our part. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
I have one last question
Sure, go
for Jake. When we were looking at this, the discussion or the statement was made about that we would have to change the gradient to the hill. Do we know? I didn't see it directly called out. Do we know how much we'd have to change that gradient?
The gradient was at about a 20% slope before, and we need to get to a 32% slope. So it's gonna be, we needed a 10-foot drop over a 16-foot run, and it was about probably a 24-foot run before. So it was quite too shallow to have kids properly functioning down those slides.
Can I make a comment about that? Because this is confusing. When I talk to the supplier, they want not a slope, they want a degree. So it's a 32-degree angle.
Oh, degree, yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Nina. Thank you. Sorry,
Which
I
is
meant,
not
I
the same-
misspoke, degree.
The
Yep,
the angle, the slope is 58%, which is very
Yep.
different than a 32. So that is
Yes. Yep.
sometimes confusing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, very confusing, guys. I just misstepped on the terms myself. Thank you, Nina.
I do
She
that
had
too.
something
Don't
first.
worry.
Yes, you had something first. Okay, go ahead, sir.
I have an engineering question. How do you get ground and ground to the bottom of the steps? Watch the grandkids.
Can you throw up the site plan again, Jake?
Yes, is this one adequate?
We couldn't hear.
Yeah, I did not hear the question.
The question was, how do you get grandparents to the steps?
They happen to be in a wheelchair, or if they're with the grandkids. Just-
Well, there's no ADA ability to get to the top of this.
No, not at all. I just said to the steps.
I got that, to
Yeah.
the steps. So that's his question. What is the capabilities of getting to the steps?
At this point, there is none. You are basically held back to the loops right here because of the drainage swale coming through this area.
We need a bridge. Yeah, there's a flaw to the plan.
Yes, that was considered early on, and it was brought up in the park committee to address it in this fashion with the drainage swale needing to continue through that area. The fact that the top of the slope wasn't ADA accessible was deemed a deciding factor to not make the accessible path all the way to the base of the stair.
Can I interact to that? One of the reasons is that we need to get some access from the top. And we have the restrooms, and the restrooms have to be also changed. So we thought, let's get this one done now. And then in the future, we can address it, because to make it handicap, we can maybe change, put a little bridge so you can go with a wheelchair, but you need to get them accessible to the other part. And that's the reason said that makes the whole cost more expensive. So let's do the basic. And when we do the restroom, then we can maybe get accessible from the other side.
I was just thinking of grandkids and grandpa and grandma.
Yeah, I'm a grandma.
Right?
I know.
So am I.
Yeah,
At least to get to the bottom of the steps,
yeah.
and you have them back there. I mean, from a distance, there's a big flaw in that plan.
Well, Jacob, can you help us out? Would there be any options? Can the stone be as close that you cannot fall, that you can walk flat over it? Because I've seen that in some other parts.
I think that to make that an accessible route to the base of the stairs, if we wanted to change the way the town is addressing this for the bid set, we would want that to be a continuous pathway in concrete. These slopes would rise quite heavily from here to here. I believe we would want to do some kind of culvert. I don't know if we have the depth in this swale. That would take a little more looking at stormwater and capacities coming through this area. We don't really want this pathway being a dam and causing water issues in the rest of the playground. It would take a little more exploring than I can answer tonight, unfortunately.
I think we can leave, from my point of view, and from we have discussed it in the meeting, we can leave it as is. And if the stones are flat, handicap accessible, that's not be possible. But a grandma, if you normally can walk, and it's going to be steep, so you cannot go probably with a wheelchair all the way up there.
because you need a specific angle, I don't know, which is 6% or 8% to be able to get with so.
Yeah, yes. It's going to be a very steep slope. Right now, even with what we're showing, we have a almost 4.5% slope already. And that's picking up a lot of grade in these steps. So we'll be crossing over that 5% threshold that is ADA accessible, deemed ADA accessible in the first place. So it's not going to be ADA accessible as far as the thresholds, which is 4.5, 5% is the threshold for just a sloped walk and not a ramp. Once it becomes a ramp, technically you would need to have a handrail system leading up to that hillside.
The slide is great. It really is. It's great for kids.
The thing is we did not build an ADA accessible playground. It is not ADA accessible anywhere. So I think trying to make this that way makes it difficult. And it adds a lot of cost to the project is where I'm at. I just see that as an issue.
I thought one of the positive things about this type of slide to offer the children is they can go down the slide all day long and there is nothing, it's not like an open slide where they're 10 feet in the air and the kids are going down with the rail and there's nothing when they go over the edge of the slide at all. So I thought from a safety standpoint, I thought maybe we're one up on the game. I do understand. I'm going to claim ignorance that I don't have an understanding of ADA accessible slides on any other public playground. I don't know how they, all I'm saying is I've never looked at it from that point of view, so I don't know how if they're out there, I don't know what they look like, is all I'm saying, so.
How I comprehend it is the access.
Yeah, I don't think it's the slide, it's the access to the point where the kids are shooting out.
And he's got a great point of it because
Well, this would be the time to fix it if we could.
a good, I don't even have a percentage, but a good percentage of people are gonna be people that shuffle their feet and have a cane
Like
and
me.
wheelchairs. It's all great. It's all a great point.
You got 250 in the playground and you're gonna add 85 is what just big numbers looking at it right now is. Ballpark?
What is
I
it?
cannot hear the questions.
I can't, you're not speaking to the microphone. Back to this issue. So what does the board want to do about this? Do you want this reconfigured so that there's piping underneath there that can handle that flow of water? And Lee's shaking his head.
I don't think we have the grade to make that work.
You don't have the grade to make that work.
Yeah, to get a
Right.
pipe in there that has, some cover on it so that you can, make a path over it. It's just too flat there to the wetland to make
Yeah.
that work. I mean, it would have to go. We'd have to go survey way out in the wetland and see if we can even make it daylight.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the conversation, how we ended up with all that money in concrete and curbing, and the other part of it is because it was the best we could offer for mobility.
Your mic's not on.
Oops. That's how we ended up with all that money in curbing and concrete and excavation. And on that other one was strictly for general mobility for walking on the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that,
I would say we should move ahead with the project as it is. If people complain, we can always, like we have done in others, build a small wooden bridge over the stones, and that's not a big issue.
my question would be is why can't we just have the stone, whatever why can't the stones be replaced with concrete and it's consistent? And we have water running over our new sidewalks out there off the parking lot process already. So why would this, if we do have overflow there?
Well, the overflow, it has to be guided, and I think from what Lee said, it has been fixed so it will not run into the playground.
Yeah, because it's definitely not, if you go out and look there, it's not an area for a culvert or any other means of carrying water over to that swale to drain off.
Right.
It's just the configuration of the land itself.
So let me ask you another question. And I believe I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. You can actually walk from that handicap stall on the east side of this swale to get to that slide also, on the grass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So to me, that's an alternative.
Yeah, if you're.
If you don't wanna
if
go
you can
across
walk
the
on-
rocks, if you can come across there.
Yeah, if you can walk on the grass any other time, yes.
Yeah.
And those stones are going to be big and flat, and there will be a narrow. I don't know how, Jacob, how wide is the split between the stones? Will be and so if it's nice and flat, you can walk over them easily. I've
Yeah.
seen it
Yeah,
in public
it's
parks.
about 5 inches there, so it's less than your normal.
So you cannot
step.
fall through the stones.
But you can actually get from the parking lot into this as it's shown on that picture.
From the parking lot,
there.
you can go around there.
Yeah,
That's not
you
a-
can, yeah, this contour is going to be roughly the same grade. You'll have about a 2-foot drop from this corner of the parking lot over to the front of the slide. So
Okay.
you would be on the same level if you were able to maneuver that hillside.
And from the
Should be-
standpoint of ease of walking, it's still gonna be easier to walk the concrete starting at the entrance and follow all the other concrete that's out there.
Yeah.
Rather than walking the edge of the hill and over the rocks that are there for the drainage from the parking lot, so.
I think that going to Nina's point, that getting these slides in to complete the what am I trying to say? The amount of equipment, complete the package, the total package of equipment. So you add the slides that have been missing in this phase would be very crucial for the kids in the town. And then as you see the usage, maybe we don't see the usage we were anticipating. We all hope we will. Kids love the slides. And as you see the usage spike, then we look at adding some kind of accessible pathway from the restrooms over to this area, from either the parking lot, or the restrooms. It's got a great opportunity to come through the face of the slide area. This would be your base, and then as usage and funds allow, you could look at getting a ADA pathway in there
Okay.
while maintaining the swale to take care of the water that the site accepts.
Okay, so are we ready to go back to this cost estimate and decide what we're gonna do with this project? Can you bring back up the cost estimate, Jake?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. You have to come over by the microphone. No, come on over to the microphone because people cannot hear you online. I'm getting complaints. Sorry.
I guess I'm just trying to understand this as a resident. We've got about $250,000 into this park already?
No.
Or is this 113 part of that $250,000?
We don't have 250 into it. That is a misnomer.
Okay, then what do
Our
we have?
bid last year was about 223.
223.
Am I right? 223?
That's close.
And we paid 91,000 of it out of impact fees.
Okay, now, I mean, I get that, but we're still talking about almost $300,000. We're looking at, and Nina's talking about, we're just gonna add more to it. Jake has just said now we don't have usage. We're hoping that usage is gonna increase.
Well, the usage has increased since that's gotten done. Absolutely.
How many people are we actually serving with this park for $330,000 or $300,000?
You're serving everyone here in the town who has children that use it. Now,
And that-
do all
then
those
I guess I'm
children,
just asking
let me
for a
back you
number.
up. Do all those children live in this town? Not necessarily, but the people who have these children, whether they're grandchildren or others, are using the park. We did a lot of research prior to this park improvement from the public that live here as to whether they wanted to do this or not, and they said yes. Overwhelmingly, it was yes.
Okay,
The park project, the park equipment that we had outlived its lifespan. And you can talk to the man at the end of the table here who helped dismantle it. It
well,
was
I
a
get
very
that part of it. I was just
tough,
wondering
tough
how
shape.
much usage, when Jake is saying that we didn't have a spike or we have a low usage, and as usage picks up,
I think he
going
was
to.
saying that we would check the usage in a year and see where we're at as to whether we're getting those complaints on.
Yes,
for
yes,
the
that's what I
slide.
was trying to get at
Yeah.
there is like, if you see just incredible, obviously we anticipate normal usage. If you're seeing people coming from surrounding communities to come check out your hillside, you know, your priority to add more infrastructure to the park might increase at that point. Yeah, I wasn't meaning to say ever low usage. It meant like if you see a lot of usage, like if you build it, they will come type situation is what I was hoping to get at there.
Hi, this is Janet. Can you hear?
Just a second, Janet wants to speak and she's online and she's the chair of the committee. Go ahead, Janet.
Yeah, so I go by the park every day and I've been pulling in for a few years to check on the usage. There's almost, every day there's someone there during the day. There's families with young kids. I've been going over the weekend with my grandkids and checking it out. There's always people there. There's always 2 to 3 families there. So it does get used. And now with the Sandpiper softball group being there regularly, there's always usage in the evening too. So it definitely gets used.
Yes, Lori.
So one of the interesting things that happened with the park project last year is this was running in sync along with the parking lot project.
Yeah.
And extensive grading had to be done on what ended up being the park part to accommodate the changes in the drainage that came off of, number one, the parking lot in the increased area and the change that needed to be made for a water runoff problem on the east side of the building. And there was also a water collection problem that needed to be addressed that was coming from all this roof area, and which before it had no home. So that pond that's sitting there that the parks is gonna in the future reference to as a rain garden for the purpose of maintenance, that actually is not a rain garden. The park didn't intend to have a rain garden. There was a future rain garden gonna be in the park someplace, but that was assigned to the park department as a part of a place where we had to have a retention pond for the parking lot project and to take care of all the water problems that this building has had. So yes, did the park project push 200 grand? Yeah, it sure did. Over $100,000 of that park project was grading, a retention pond, the sidewalks that were put in for accessibility, which was the curbing, all the things that had to go along with how the project ran out. So it wasn't like that's the whole story on what it is. So we started out with equipment, we started out with the plan, we knew there was going to be grading, and the grading bill ended up being twice the price that, or more than twice the price that it was planned on being. And it was it was cost effective for the town to do the grading and the layout for the park equipment at the same time as the parking lot project.
I can just say, we started before COVID.
Yeah.
Remember when COVID
I want
started?
you to come to the microphone because people online can't hear you.
Yeah. So the whole project started before COVID, and we all know how long COVID has taken. And we did not have the rain garden, the detention pond, which I call the detention pond because it's what it is. And when we had everything laid out, the equipment and everything, then it comes suddenly, oh, there's going to be some water coming in here. There's a detention pond. So the whole thing started to move around, and then we hired Sarah to deal with all that and to incorporate the pond with what we had planned. So this has been taking a long time. And we have been thinking and discussing all that if it's going to be used. We have been seeing other playgrounds. You know how other playgrounds cost in the cities? $1 million, $1.5 million. So we managed to do all the work by ourselves to get to what we have now. And I think from what the family are saying, they're very happy about it.
Yeah.
And if they get the slide, it's what there's missing, because everybody says, we are missing a slide. So
Yeah.
I hope when we get done, everybody will be happy and it will be filled up with children.
I
have
I-
one little extra.
I just want to say to you that I appreciate your comments regarding all the grading that had to be done, because it kind of went out of my head that we had to commit to that with all the changes we made in this parking lot to get this parking lot to drain correctly and get everything coming off the building to drain all in the right spot, because we dealt with a lot of water issues around this building that needed to still be finalized to a point where we're not impacting the building anymore.
This final plan does not look anything like what the park committee started out for. And they had to redo it in order to accommodate the other issues.
Yeah.
I will, kind of interestingly enough, I recently saw that New Richmond is going out to bid for a little park that for Mary's, I think it's called Mary's Park in New Richmond. And they're looking to buy a jungle gym setup. And they just received $110,000 grant. But they have to go out and find, in order to get the grant, they have to be able to find another $110,000 to match that. And they're doing fundraisers to get that. So this $250,000 number, as staggering as it sounds, which it was to me 3 years ago, I was just couldn't believe that that's how much it costs. These are realistic prices. And it is not, playground equipment is not exempt from cost increases. And with people encouraging children to go back and use large muscle exercise and to go take your kids outside and play, the need for these types of things locally is a real thing. So that's my input.
Did you want to say something quicker?
I was gonna ask if there's actually a motion.
There's no motion yet, so I just wanted to clarify. This cost estimate that you put up there is for these two projects, correct? Because we have two projects in front of us. That's what I'm verifying. So you're going to
Correct.
get-
Yes, there's the site work project and then a play equipment project.
Okay. So are we going to go to bid for this, and what would our timeline be?
If council approves tonight, we would put an ad for bid out, planning on middle of next week, 3-week bid period, and opening on the 10th, 1 day prior to your next meeting. And able to award then if everyone, if bids come in favorable.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion on this?
So Teresa, I have a question before we make the motion is, do we need to make a motion on each project individually? Or do we need to make a motion on both projects together?
You can't have one
One
without
without the other. So you have to make
Okay,
up a
so it
vote.
would be, so then I'll make a motion to send both the Town Hall Park Hillside Playground Improvement Project and the Town Hall Hillside Equipment Project to bid.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in- Yes.
I think this is Janet. So that would be with the metal slide or the plastic? Would
Now
that
you have a plastic side in the bid with a metal side as an alternate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that,
Everything's showing here. So this grand total at the end is adding up all of the alternates. So this metal slide alternate is cumulative in this grand total. As Lee calculated earlier and I verified, if you remove the metal slide, you are down at around an $85,000 estimate.
So we'll see
So-
how it comes in.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
Janet?
yep, sounds great.
Okay.
Thank-
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Update on TAP grant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Update on TAP grant.
I heard anything on the TAP grant?
Okay. Outdoor rec plan.
I have heard on that. We got a preview from Sarah that we'll be looking at. And I'll have to set up a special meeting for the committee to go over in the near future. So we're getting close on that. I'm excited about that.
Thank you. And how about Fall Festival? You have a date?
Yes, September 17th from 10 to 2. And we'll be talking about that at the next Finance Committee. Is that next Monday, I think?
Yep.
Since all the chairs are going to be there, we're going to talk about that. And Pat Tuma will be at that meeting. She's been kind of spearheading it for the Parks Committee.
And we need to get that on the website too. Okay. Anything else on the Fall Festival besides, I know Chris is getting all the signs ready to sell that we have up there.
How many signs do you have?
Lots.
Lots.
If there's anybody who wants to volunteer, help plan it, help that day,
Yes.
we could need that. We're gonna need some help.
I think we're done with you, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll go on to Plan Commission. I don't know if I have any, I know, I should take the junkyards and other chronic nuisances. I know that Jay sent out some letters on some of those. And there was another complaint that if you want to read it in the correspondence, it's in there from a resident regarding that. Does anyone have any questions on that? Have you sent anything out yet?
I have sent letters out to the property owners who were identified at the last meeting, providing until August 15th to clean up the properties. Otherwise, the board will consider legal action.
Okay. Any questions for him on that? All right, chapter 68, the assemblies and application form came to us from the Plan Commission. You've reviewed it once. Have you reviewed it the second time?
I have reviewed it a second time.
Okay. Anton's on. Anton, do you want to take charge of this one?
Take charge in which way?
So he had a couple of changes to it. Do you want to just identify what those are? Maybe we can do that.
Me? Many are just some minor typographical changes that we don't need to go into.
Okay.
I would say on the second page, when we're defining what an assembly is, second definition number 2, as it reads now, it looks as if it's an authorization to exceed maximum occupancy standards within a building. So I think some change there to indicate, I think it probably should just read the maximum occupancy of the building on the property in which the assembly will occur. I think the idea is you get an assembly permit when you're going to exceed a building capacity and going to have people outdoors or in a temporary facility. So fairly minor change there. And then for the insurance requirements, I just wanted to have some clarifying language on the $1 million per 1,000 persons. This is basically the insurance requirements go up based on the estimated number of people who would attend, with the possibility of what I believe a total amount of insurance would be $3 million for an event here. I just think we should clarify that a little bit. Next one would be following page. This would be section 68-4 A2. It has the phrase "a licensed promoter" within it. Now, under a previous iteration of the draft assemblies ordinance, that was a defined term. That term no longer exists, so I think this should just be changed to the owner or applicant.
Okay.
Because we're not using that as a defined term. The rest of it is the same, and it seems it's in good shape. So these are minor things.
So if the board is okay with adding his comments into this ordinance as language, and I have to change the number at the top, we can set this for a public hearing at our August meeting. It has to be a public hearing because it involves fees. And so this revises our old chapter 68.
It would be my thought, we need to go forward. We've had this
Yeah.
in the queue for months. And I think
It's time.
I think that, yes, we need to go forward and have a public hearing and move it on to E-code.
I'm gonna,
That's just a comment.
yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to incorporate our attorney's comments into chapter 68 assemblies and application form and set this for a public hearing at our August board meeting at 7 o'clock.
Second.
Any other discussion regarding that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it passes. And then there's a new ordinance in here called outdoor residential lighting ordinance. That was also passed to us by the board or by the plan commission. Anton, you want to say something to that?
Sure. Excuse me. We had a resident that came to us describing a particular instance that they'd had and suggesting that the town may want to regulate residential lighting to some extent to avoid potential conflicts between residents. He brought in a few examples of possible ordinances that other towns had put together, ranging from some that were fairly loose to some that were closer to a dark sky sort of regulation. We looked at those on the plan commission and decided to go with something on the loose end that basically simply tries to allow the town to regulate light trespass, which is light that is falling on another person's property above a certain light level, while exempting agricultural operations, for instance, from this. And we put together an ordinance based on work that other towns had done and passed that to the board for consideration.
So it is in front of you. It is not a real long ordinance. It's pretty straightforward. And Jeff Carlson is here because he's been one of the people who's asked for this to come forward to us. And I'm trying to find your email. The document that's in your Google Drive is what was sent to us by the Plan Commission. But I know you asked for some changes to it, Jeff, and do you want, I'm going to have you resend it to me because I can't find it. I know that Terry probably has it. Oh, here it is. So you edited it and you asked for a few changes. That was only to edit to regulate residential lighting, but I don't know that that is what our intent was.
Say that again.
Doesn't your edited form have residential yellow highlighted?
I think so.
But I don't think that was the intention. I think the intention of the committee was to do all lighting, outdoor lighting,
That's what they did.
and that's what they did.
The town already has a commercial residential lighting ordinance.
No, we don't have a commercial residential lighting.
Well, you don't have an ordinance, but you have commercial standards
right.
that dictate basically whatever.
But that's not enforceable. I'm
Well, and
talking
that-
about after the fact. It's only enforceable during the building up, but once that's 5 years down the road, it's not enforceable.
Oh, okay.
That's why I think they wanted to go with just outdoor lighting.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, if that's technically what needs to be done, that's fine.
Yeah. So this is a 5-page ordinance in here. It does give you some ideas about what it is. And there are penalties provided here, which we have to have a public hearing on this also because it has a penalty. So I'll make sure you get a copy of this and a copy of his with the changes in it that he's proposing. But this is the copy that's come to you from the Plan Commission. And then if you want to, we can set a public hearing for this for next month also and get these 2 ordinances done, because on our agenda, it shows 156, 170 and 64, which will be September's public hearings. So we're trying to do them in groups. Cost us less money if we do it that way. Is everyone okay with us setting up for public hearing? See where we're at? I'll make a motion to approve setting for public hearing, the outdoor, it says residential, but it should say lighting. The outdoor lighting ordinance, that is a new ordinance and will have to be codified with a new number for a public hearing at our next board meeting at 7:15.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I read through that stuff and I kind of look at, I want to be an electrician here in the town after this happens. I don't really think that all of that is appropriate in encroaching on other people's property with what they have.
Okay.
Existing is exempt.
It doesn't read that way. It says immediately after this thing is passed, you will be changing stuff. That's how I read it. Tell me I'm still.
I don't think it reads that. I think if there's an issue.
Non-conforming lighting number 6, excuse me, says no outdoor luminaire which was lawfully installed prior to the enactment of this chapter shall be required to be removed or modified, except as expressly provided herein. Means that if you go to change out your fixture or your outdoor lighting thing, then you'll be asked to conform. So all your existing stays is intact.
I think what he's concerned about is the next paragraph. That existing lighting which substantially deviates from the purpose and intent set forward and is brought to the town board may constitute a nuisance and be subject to abatement or other relief. Where are you standing on that, Chris?
Where am I?
Nelson?
I'd like to know that too.
We can declare it a public nuisance, but one of the things that we've talked about in the past is, without a structure in place to
Right.
address nuisances, I don't think abatement is very likely. It would probably just be a dispute between property owners. So, we can say it in there, but I really don't see us enforcing any type of mandatory changes to existing lighting.
So that kind of changes where you're standing.
Could that little
Because if it's only
paragraph
for
be-
new,
that little paragraph be attorney revised to be a little bit?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, we have
look at it is, I can drive along with
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get
Town
around.
squealer.
yeah, I know.
I don't,
I think it's.
you know,
I just-
here's,
no,
here's,
Jeff,
here's.
Jeff,
Let's go
The
back.
attorney was
I'd
speaking.
like the attorneys.
We're listening to the attorney right now.
Sure. No, I view it more as a cutoff, for future lighting, modified lighting, lighting that's been added. It's going to conform to this. As far as any changes to existing lighting, I think it's when the lighting fixture is changed in some way, then it needs to conform. As far as substantial deviation and the town doing some sort of a nuisance enforcement action, that's probably not happening.
Okay, and what did you want to say, Jeff?
Well, I think the intent my intention was when I brought this to the town is that as we expand, there may be other instances where someone intentionally, or more than likely unintentionally, puts up excessively bright lights to light their property, and in doing that, that light spills out onto somebody else's property and is not welcome. It's not like you're going to have a lighting Nazi driving around town and making formal complaints to the town board and demanding people change their lights. That's not the intention. I personally don't feel that anybody has the right to spread their noise, their light, whatever they have on their property, keep it on your property. That's where it belongs. It doesn't belong on my property. And there are plenty of ordinances all over in small towns across Wisconsin that have very specific ordinances. And that if there is legitimate light trespass on somebody else's property, there is language that they have a certain amount of time to modify that lighting so that the light trespass is mitigated. What other recourse would a resident have?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking whoever wants to answer it.
Oh, we're in. No, first of all, we're not having give and take here. He's asked something of us. Do you have an answer for that?
No, I think it's fairly clear that, new lights or modified lights will comply with the ordinance. Existing lights, are exempt.
Okay, Todd, you were first back there.
Well, I was just saying, I think you got that problem going on in my house, that rental property. They got all storage buildings. One that faces to the north, they got a great big challenging light up there. What's up all living room? I can't see.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you're dealing with that lights spill over too. And
They put something to be pointed down.
Yeah.
And they want to light up your area. but Blinds.
yeah, and you had a quick comment?
I mean, I'm not reading the ordinance, I don't have much of that. Are we defining this? I mean,
Yes.
By lumens and.
Yes.
Illumination, I mean, can it be enforced? I mean, like,
Well-
meter out and register that, can it be enforced?
What is happening now on our commercial standards is that we're requiring all downlights. They can't spill out. It has to be downward pointed. And that's pretty much what we're asking for here, that you're doing downward pointing lights. So you're not shining in someone else's living room. And not everyone has the ability to have barriers that stop that.
I get that.
Yeah.
I do, but I'm just asking. Is it one man's opinion? Yeah, that's bothersome to me. How are you defining that? Are you defining that at lumens? Are you defining that in luminaries? How are you-
In lumens.
It's 4 lumens, is it not 4 feet above the ground at the property line?
That's correct.
Teresa, is it possible for you to screen share, and it's a
Oh,
short document?
thank you for asking. I can't keep track of doing that, so just a second.
That way they can kind of, it's only, it's a 5-page with fairly few types, so.
I know, it's not very big.
Swing
Here,
through
hold
it.
on a second. Share screen. Share now. So there's definitions of commercial light trust, luminaire, blah, blah, blah. And down here is where it says maximum height of 25 feet for pole fixtures. Here it talks about exemptions for this. Security, low voltage, et cetera. And then it goes on. I missed it.
Yeah, you want the definition for light trespass.
Right
Just
there.
up a little bit,
Up a little bit.
up a little more, right there.
There, right there it is. 4 feet above the ground. There's where it's identified. Excuse me, identified. So it's a pretty small ordinance. If we're gonna set it for public hearing, then the ordinance is available for everyone to look at. It'll be on the website, as will chapter 68. So everyone can weigh in. That's the nice thing about having a public hearing, is that helps us all decide if this is a direction we're going or not.
Well, I was just, I mean, like I said, I didn't have the luxury of seeing it. I don't know
Yeah.
how we define it. Rather than just it being an opinion.
Right.
Is it defined in luminaires, in
Yeah.
lumens on somebody else's?
Fine, and the plan commission is good at what they do, and they're very hard on this, so I guess I would like to see this go to public hearing. It was there.
It's fine.
I'll make the new, or did I already did make it for 7:15?
You made
All-
it.
Aye, opposed? Fantastic, we'll set it for 3 ordinances that are on doc. Anton, you expect that you'll have these ready for us in August so that we can in September.
That's correct.
So analyzing those, if anyone has any, attend the plan commission meeting and what they're doing. And hope to review them once they come out of plan commission.
The sign ordinance is with me right now.
Okay.
I haven't seen chapter 64 or 170, but I've seen some communications about 170 changes.
Perfect. Anything else, Anton?
Nope.
Thank you.
Well, only the appointment, which is later on the agenda.
Oh, that's down at 22. All right. So, we'll do that shortly. Next is campaign sign enforcement policy. It is in your drive. You asked me to come up with something after what we heard about campaign enforcement. So this policy, and of course I'm missing it and in there, so it needs that corrected, is approved by the town board in order to address violations of campaign signage in the right of ways of the town of St. Joseph. It goes on to tell you how these signs are allowed. They don't exceed 32 square feet. There's no flashing lights. They're only up 45 days before the election. They have to be removed 1 week after. Part of that is state law. Part of that has to do with what the state allows you to do when it comes to signage, and I incorporated that in our document. The town zoning administrator will send out a letter prior to the time frame when campaign signs can be placed to each of the town of St. Joseph local candidates, because most local candidates don't understand the rules. I don't know why I got that. Going away. You see why that's not going away? I'll continue reading while he looks at that. Any violations of number 1 will be managed in the following manner that complaints will be directed to the town chair or the board supervisor, who is the member of the Public Works Committee. The board supervisor or a designated public works person shall have the signs removed if they are in violation. The signs that are safety hazards will be removed immediately prior to those that are simply in violation of the right of way. So in other words, if you have signs that are in corners, sight lines, et cetera, they will, I know there was one cover of B that was, inch off the white line, so those would be ones that would be different. All complaints regarding what was replaced, inside the making sure that 30 days for reclaiming, if not, make up, they will be destroyed. All complaints regarding campaign signs on county roads and state highways will be directed to Sacred County. So it's pretty straightforward. We use a little more challenge here, currently, Chris Marshall. I don't know if you want to make any changes to that, but I think, it's something that we can designate the person who will be involved in this and go from there. Any comments from anyone? I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to move forward with campaign sign enforcement policy.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it passes. Technology committee, we're still waiting on AT&T to give us a zero bill, or it hasn't happened yet. I don't have any update on broadband. Okay. And public records requests, you asked for the clerk to put together a listing of the public records requests that she's done. That yellow and green. So what she's done is she started from last year, or I should say, November of 21. And she's put out, I don't have the timing on the first one, but she can get that filled in, and there's a couple of times missing on those. The time is the time that the clerk's office spent, the fee collected, because there are fees collected on some of these. Did you want to see this? Okay. And then there is also charges from the attorney's office for doing for fees incurred that we pay for out of the town of St. Joseph that are not able to be redone or reclaimed because they're only allowed to collect from them the time over 1.5 hour that our office spends. And that does not include redact. It does not include any of those type of charges. So this is a 4 pages. And in the last week, we've gotten 3 more. And so it continues. But it lays out to you, you can keep that. At least that you, it lays out to you where we're at. I believe you're going to continue this, just so that you're aware. I'm going to tell you all 2020, from 2016 to 2020, we had 3. This is what's happened since November of 21. It's a lot of work for the, I think you've got it fixed. I think Justin says you can hear. Justin, can you hear okay? I mean, sorry. Anton, can you hear? I know.
Yes.
Anton, can you hear okay?
Yes, Darla says
Thank you.
good too.
Yeah, it's just, we've had some trouble. So anyway, that's where we're at. Does anyone have any comments on this for the clerk?
Good job.
Her staff was very helpful in getting this put together because it was a lot of work.
I think, thank you. I think it's significant to see the impact of. That's all I have to say.
It's interesting to me also, the people who ask for public records that we don't have. Things that are not our record. Our record is only something that we have. If we don't have it, we can't make it up. And things like census numbers, we don't have, that comes from the DOA. We don't have those. And there's other things on here that, you know, there were things on here that were asked for that we don't have that are only at the Wisconsin Elections Commission. So there's definitely things on here that people ask for, and ours, you know, we can't make it up. If we don't have it, it is not ours. So I hope you take a chance to look at this so you understand all the work that she's put into it. It's been a lot. And this is a lot of public records requests. And I'm not opposed to people having transparency, but this is amazing how much time this is taking.
Teresa?
Yes.
Citizen comment, please.
Go ahead.
I sent a request into Terry early Tuesday morning requesting the draft ordinance language.
Yes.
And I know she's really busy, but this is a good example of how important it would be to have this information available to the public before it comes to the board, so we can comment on it. Showing up at the board meeting and trying to read along as you're scrolling down doesn't do us any good. It would just be real helpful for the public to have that draft documentation before the meeting.
And I don't disagree with you, but that's why we set public hearings for ordinances, to give the public an ability to comment on those. And it's difficult. Obviously, she's in training this week. She hasn't been in the office. So that's been a week of her being not available. But in this case, in most ordinances, they come to the board to be set for public hearings. That's the time for the public to weigh in. And it's put on the website. You can get a copy of it off of there. You can come in here and get a copy. I mean, it's available to you, but it takes the board to set it for a public hearing before we really open it up to comments from the public. And if the board disagrees with me, let me know, but I think that's how this process works.
It would be helpful to have the PDF attachment to the agenda, as I've seen it has been done just recently. Good job on that. So it can be done. I'm just saying it's helpful to the citizens to be able to read it before a meeting.
All right. Thank you. Anything else from anyone on this? So now we're going to go on to B&J Hardware. Chris Marshall brought this up because of the amount of things that are necessitated by having a tractor driver now working for us full time. And before we had you or Mike Long or
Well,
whoever,
the-
go pick
yeah,
up stuff.
The missing void is Mike. Mike took care of all
Yeah.
that stuff for me, and then now I wanna move forward with an account at the hardware store where the town's employee can go up there and get grinding wheels or grease or DEF fluid or whatever to keep on rolling on his own.
So what this B&J Hardware is asking for an application for an account there that he can simply go up there and charge to it. I will say this, that he's been very good about producing all the receipts right now on the tractor. We've not had any issues. He's, as you
He's
see on
not
the
a
credit
typical
card.
guy, huh?
Huh?
He's not a typical guy.
I guess not. He
Yeah.
rolls up to the drop box and sticks
He's
them in there.
trained, personally trained. Ah,
But I'm saying, how good is this?
yeah.
So this would be the same type of account that he would be able to go up there and pick
Yeah.
up whatever he needs
Yep,
and charge it to the town
Yep.
and supply the receipt to here.
yep.
Obviously, if he doesn't
And
have a
then their
receipt,
receipt would match at the end of the.
yeah, and if there's no receipt, that's something you would take care of.
Yep, each time that he would purchase something, it produces a double receipt. One he signs, they keep. He takes it back here, then at the end of the month, Terry will be able to compare the receipt he brought back with the invoice and pay it.
Yeah. So it's not really a credit card. It is
No,
a-
it's an account.
It's a charge account.
Yeah,
So it's up to the board because we do have to approve these, which is what I told Chris when he asked about this. This is something we have to approve.
Do we have to approve with a limit?
Tell me what you think about that.
you could do probably $2,000 or so. Yes, sir.
I was wondering if anybody checked to see if they actually.
Yes, I did, sir. They don't have one, sir.
They'll charge it. They'll send it. This is, they're gonna, and she just asked us, it's on a credit card. They're sending us a bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are they in Ace Hardware?
nope.
Okay, so this is specific to that one location.
Yes, that's what this application is
Yeah.
for.
I'll make them,
I just want to, just before you make a motion, the three people we have on here is yourself, Chris Marshall, and Jacob Rose and Terry Kelly. Are those the three that you want on there? For this
Do you want to
purpose?
be on there?
Will be on there too.
Todd Tuma.
And add Todd Toomas, you had a second sheet.
Bolts for signs and stuff.
Yeah. Doing what we're doing now.
You send Brenda for,
Well, we've been going fleet farm.
He can go get them.
And then I-
yeah, he'll have
He can go get them.
But I mean, if we need some signs, we can run it up there, you know, bolts.
So I just.
just
wanted
so
to
you
clarify.
understand, you're the only
Yeah.
one from your company that's authorized. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to make the motion?
make the motion for the B&J hardware
Yeah.
created for Public Works with a limit of $2,000. And the personnel. who've
Four
been-
people.
The four individuals who've already been stated publicly by the chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, it passes. So then we have two operator licenses. Did we get money on both of these or not?
Yes.
So both of them have paid. Was this one missing?
This was missing information.
Okay. So the first person on there has a complete application. The second one is missing information, has been contacted more than once and has not supplied it.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay,
I move to approve the operator license for Joseph M. Rudquist for, it's Landmark, and I don't know the rest of the official name, but the Cenex
yeah.
in Burkhart.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that passes. And then we have to make a motion on the other one because they failed, they submitted an application with money, but the application is missing. Can you read?
Okay, I kind of read that, so I'm gonna move to deny the operator license for Mark T. Murphy on at the Cajun Club, and that and authorize the clerk to refund his fees?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna withdraw that then.
Okay.
Second.
The reason you can't refund the fees is we've already done the background check. That's what that's for.
Oh,
So we
okay,
already
so
spent the
all we
money.
have to do is deny it.
All we have to do is deny it.
Moved.
Chris, do you have an issue with
No,
that?
no, that's fine. I just wanted
Okay.
to be clear on what we're doing.
So we're just simply denying it because it is not a complete application. But because he submitted and he's been contacted and it's not added to it, we have to take action. So,
okay,
we're denying. Any other discussion
You
on that?
forfeit the down payment.
Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, it passes. And then the appointment to the Plan Commission. As you knew, the Plan Commission had an opening on their commission. And last month, they did go ahead and recommend to us, is it Dave? Dave Lallier? Was it Mark?
No, we
Dave.
don't.
Dave Lallier. I had the correct last name. I couldn't remember the first name. Dave Lallier. Anton, did you have anything to say to that?
Just that we had. Oh, sorry, just that we had two very good applicants, and it basically came down to, okay, we have to pick one. And we wholeheartedly recommend Dave Lallier to take up our alternate one position.
Okay.
Could Anton, I have a question.
Yes.
Did your previous minutes reflect by chance that Ben was going to be the alternate one? Because I was thinking that you were looking to fill the alternate two position, and I just need clarification for my own
We don't have
my own point of reference.
Yeah, we don't have the minutes from the last meeting written up yet, which was where we decided what we were going to do. But
Because I know you interviewed the gentleman, the candidates.
Yes.
And I thought at that meeting, and then you decided to wait a month, and I thought at that meeting or the one previous to that, that Ben was being moved into alternate one, and I just need, like I said, I'd like clarification on that.
Yeah, we decided at the last meeting that we would just fill the alternate one position.
That's what they did.
And leave Ben as alternate two?
Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Dave Lallier as the alternate one position for the Plan Commission. Effective immediately. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I don't, it has passed. Now it's congratulations. Just so you're aware, we are still missing an alternate one for the Parks, Trails and Rec. And we need a secretary for the Plan Commission and the Board of Appeals. Liz Tremblay is no longer our secretary. She resigned and we have not found someone else.
Do we have anything on Indeed looking for a recording
Yes.
secretary?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Did we have any feedback from them?
They don't call back. So if you know anyone that would like to take minutes for these two committees, here's your chance. It would be nice to get that at a stage where we would, have them, ability to do that. Because we need someone. So if you know someone, have at it. And then I'll send this out to everyone because it's pretty well complete. Approval of the town board minutes.
I make a motion to approve the town board minutes
June 9th.
for June 9th, 2022.
Second.
Any other discussion on those? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it passes. And then payment on checks. We have a couple little issues here. There are two checks on here that I'm going to void out. And unfortunately, Justin, they're both in your name. So I guess you're working for free here.
That sounds about right.
And we'll get you a check. So I'm gonna make this motion, and the motion is that we will pay check number 23346 through 23437, including fund transfers, payroll liabilities, and we will void 233 23362 made out to Justin Cruz for $40.41. And 23392 made out to Justin Cruz for $18.47. And we will add as part of our approval on this packet, our third bill for Build Works of $220 and approve paying Justin Cruz his $525 supervisor pay that he is owed. Is there a second?
Second.
There was a lot on there. Sorry, everybody. And sorry, Justin, we'll have that check ready for you tomorrow. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it passes. If you want to start the signature one down there.
Yep.
And just the 23362 and the 233, or the 23392, will you just put void next to them? Because that's what we approved.
Yep. I already
They're both
did.
in your name.
I did that in void and void.
Okay.
Do you need me to add the line items that we?
No, that's just part of the motion.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have in your packet on your desk today, you have your account listing of what's in the bank accounts. You have your budget year to date. And you have your transaction detail report. I should also let you know that we received a $377 check from our Horton Group for a return on premium after the workers' comp audit. So that's always good news. You guys want to sign that? We received our ARPA fund money that's showing up in the bank accounts.
Did we get any more than we thought?
No,
Darn.
that's not gonna happen probably until 24. When they find out who's not spending it.
I was just trying to be cheeky.
Anything else that I didn't hit on here and anything you want on the next agenda? We're okay? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We're done. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
I guess the moral of the story is don't.
Do we just mail Jake's to him or do you want to take it?
Yeah, give it to me and I'll hand it to him tomorrow morning.
I'll tell you this. Worst things have happened, I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Although the fact that you got twice.
I thought that was hilarious.
Was that what you?
Call me in the morning, I got your paycheck.
There you go. I didn't get a chance. I didn't look at it ahead of time because I didn't have time. We were really busy. You can hit end.
It's my third, fourth, I don't know, third